Aren't we all, everybody? Isn't the world? What a day, everybody. What a day. How's it going? Thank you for the early diamond. D for the Bowie deep cut. Thank you, sir. Yeah, it's kind of one that doesn't come up very often in conversation. People discuss the oeuvre of David Bowie. Oftentimes, they don't talk about his collabs. This is a collab with Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails. Cool ass song. Cool ass song. So cool. But how's it going, everybody? Going well, I hope. On this wonderful night. This is Nightcap for August 16th, 2021. Oh boy. Oh, Big Paul in with the Ninja Guinea for the Bowie. For the Bowie. For the Bowie cracker. Well, I appreciate it, fellas. Just one lemon closer to a new bottle of whiskey. So yeah. Shit, I don't know what we're gonna do tonight. I don't know what the fuck we're gonna do. It's been a long day. Just for anybody that's watching the replay of this and stuff, go check out some new episodes on our YouTube channel. The first episode of Zoobox Goes to the Internet, where Mr. Prophet and myself covered Chris Chan, the internet's favorite autistic punching bag, Chris Chan. So we talked all about Chris Chan, and then there's another episode that went up with Dan as well today about Spike Lee's The 25th Hour, one of my favorite Spike Lee movies. So go check those out. And then down the pike, hopefully by this weekend, we'll have another episode of Zoobox Goes to the Library covering Wesley Snipes' first book, Talon of God. So look out for that in the very near future. But what should we start out today? Well, today I just found this right before I started, so I'm not sure what it is. But I follow this Twitter page or whatever, Twitter handle, Libs of TikTok, and they're always uncovering interesting, weird TikTok videos. And a lot of them, there's like a trend. A lot of them end up being teachers. There's a lot of school teachers on TikTok. It's actually made me think I should get on TikTok just to see if there's any school teachers that where my kid goes to school, see if they're on TikTok, because that's where they unmask themselves. That's where they show their crazy beliefs and their crazy shit. All these new young teachers coming through. You'll find them on TikTok. They're there, hunting you. All right. Let's check out this first one here. Hopefully the sound is all good.
Story time. This has been my first year in preschool with a class of my own, teaching alongside another queer neurodivergent educator, and we have been rocking our twos class. We've been talking about gender and skin color and consent.
This is for preschool. This is a preschool teacher. This is a preschool teacher.
And empathy and our bodies and autonomy. It's been fabulous. But our teaching team is shifting and a new person is being onboarded, someone with many years of experience. So today at the lunch table, when the topic of gender and genitals came up, one of our students plainly looked up and said, "Well, I'm a girl today, but I know that teacher Co isn't. No, they're NB." And the look on the incoming teacher's face was priceless. She was shocked in a good way, and she just looked around at the two of us and said, "This class is incredible, and I am so impressed."
These are the people that teach your children. People like this. I'm not trying to fearmonger or anything like that, but when you hear things like that this stuff is being, they're indoctrinating, brainwashing your kids in preschool, mildly concerning. Mildly concerning. Because a kid can't conceptualize any of those ideas. They can't make up their mind about any of that stuff themselves. When they're that age, they're basically looking for you to give them an opinion about things. This is not some sort of natural development. This is social engineering. Prophet in the chat says, "Laugh out loud, not my children." I know. We're all going to be homeschooling before this is over. Oh, look. She's squee, dude. She's squeeing. Squeeing all over the place. But I saw that right before I got on. I was like, I should watch that on the stream. That shit is terrifying. What is this? This is another teacher. Things that never happened. Some old lady here. We'll check out some of these libs of TikTok things. I've always been meaning to try to like go down the TikTok rabbit hole because there's so much stuff, and they're short, which is also helpful. Sometimes it's good to have shorter videos. Pro tip. Let's see what she has to say.
Well, it finally happened. I was going down the highway and saw three cop cars pulling over one family, a minivan that had a couple of kids in it and a mom and dad. Dad was driving. They were asking Dad to get out of the car and come back to their car, and then they opened up the back of the van. I went around, got out of my car, and started filming. And as soon as I did, the cop looks at me and he goes, "Are you filming?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Ma'am, you don't need to film. We're letting this gentleman go." And I waited until they let that man get back in the car, and he went like this to me. I wasn't filming then. But this is what we have to do as white allies. When you see a black person...
Okay, because I was kind of on board. I was like, okay, see something maybe weird going on. That's a good thing to do if you're part of your community. Look out for each other. Especially when it comes to cops. But now this angle comes in. Well, yeah, I mean, if it's a black guy, a white person, doesn't matter.
Being pulled over, stop, film. It's the only way we're going to start saving these people.
Well, thanks God Deborah's out there. Saved that man's life today. What do you think he was doing? Transporting pit bulls? Oh, no, there's that one. Again. Oh, January 6th was worse than 9/11. Oh, this is an interesting one. This one actually almost made it into the latest episode, or the first ever episode of Zoobox Goes to the Internet. I referenced the Libs of TikTok's Twitter handle, and I showed a video from it. Ended up showing a different video, but this one was the alternate. This was the alternate video that we could have seen in that episode. So let's check it out now. It's like a deleted scene.
Fellow transgenders, I just came up with a new word. Feel free to use it. The word is misgendered. Misgendering is when somebody uses a gendered term that isn't technically correct for you, doesn't technically fit, but you're not rushing to correct it, you know? A stranger calls me sir. I got misgendered. I'm not a guy, but I don't mind being called sir. A Disney cast member called me...
Honestly, in the world of these people, this is pretty magnanimous. This is pretty generous. To, like, not be upset that somebody absent-mindedly or doesn't know you or just sees this. Like, what the... You walk up to this person, what the fuck what do you say? How do you address them if you need to get their attention? Hey, you. I guess. Hey, you. I'd be like, I'm not you. You're you.
Princess? I'm not a girl, but, you know, I'm pretty as a princess. I got misgendered. A cis person calls me agender. Let's not correct, I have a bunch of them, but you're on the right track. It's in the umbrella. I'll give you that point. I got misgendered. Hope it helps. Fellow trans...
She's out there doing the work, guys. They're trying to save us from awkward moments, social faux pas, they call it. It's gonna save us all at one point. I don't know if there's anything else good. Well, they're all kind of funny, but they're all things like that. I don't identify as human. Okay, might be one.
Hello, welcome to my gender identity video. First of all, I'm okay with any pronouns. I'm also cool with any terms of endearment. Angel, babe, sweetheart, prince, king, all of that. Great. Prince is my favorite. I was asked for my pronouns for the
What about Elf? What about Elfling? You think she'd be cool with that? Like, hey, you ever see The Dark Crystal? Prophet says, I just got 20 hours of corporate training about how these people are morally and intellectually superior to me. Well, I don't know if you're watching what I'm watching, but I think the proof is there. The proof is in the pudding, as they say. Is in the soup, the fluid.
very first time in my life, probably like a couple of years ago when I was in Asheville, and I remember not really knowing what to say. I was like, oh, she, I guess. And then later, I would be like, oh, she or they. And I noticed that I really liked it whenever people were using gender-neutral language.
So this was introduced to her not that long ago. And you see the fucking, how pernicious this stuff is. You get somebody that's already like kind of maybe mentally unstable a little bit, and then they hear this idea and they're like, oh, and then they fixate it and they become obsessed with it. And it becomes part of their identity. And then once you start behaving that way, you get to be part of that in-group. And it feels good. And they protect each other, and it's kind of insulated. Prophet says the proof is in the neo-pussy.
Which for me, and I think that's because I am feminine, right? And my life has been shaped by the fact that I present and am perceived as a woman. But gender is not a big part of my identity. Not to get too weird, but honestly, I don't really identify as human, so it's not a huge deal to me. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to talk about it. People have been asking, so.
Well, that's not anything. Person's like, why even bother making that video? You wasted all of our time, young woman. You wasted it. Protest outside the White House. Getting married during a pandemic. Oh, this one, she looks like she could be. Doctors are to black women what police officers are to black men. The party of science. Let's see.
Stop scrolling and please help me spread the word, because if I've landed on your For You page, you're most likely either a black woman or someone who cares about black women, and the simple phrase I'm about to share can help save a black woman's life.
Yeah.
Doctors are to black women what police officers are to black men. That may seem controversial, but I believe it to be true, and I speak from personal experience. If you've seen this TikTok, you know that a 2016 study showed that 50% of medical students and residents thought that black people couldn't feel pain the same as white people. And we learned from this video that because of a 1999 study to this...
So her citations are her other TikTok videos. That, would she say like 51% of doctors that were surveyed didn't think black people felt pain the same way white people did?
Students and residents thought that black people couldn't feel pain the same as white.
Okay.
If you've seen this TikTok, you know that a 2016 study showed that 50% of medical students and
50%. They're saying 50% of medical students. What?
Residents thought that black people couldn't feel pain the same as white people. And we learned from this video that because of a 1999 study, to this day, there's a black correction factor for the creatinine levels in black people's kidneys, meaning we're less likely to receive a kidney transplant if needed. So if you go to a doctor, feel you aren't getting proper treatment, or they refuse the treatment you've requested, say to them the following: I will need you to document on record that you are refusing the treatment I've requested and the reason you are refusing to do so.
Okay. And that's where this is how this stuff becomes, like, gets widespread, because people just uncritically will see a video like that and just be like, oh, wow, she's got receipts. She's got other TikTok videos. Oh my goodness. What is going on out there? These doctors' offices. And I'm not saying some doctors aren't fucked up, but that would be pretty shocking to me. I'd be pretty shocked. The caption here is, "This is exhausting." Well, I'll be the judge of that.
I am aromantic, but I'm also not asexual. And it's a really strange experience. And in the ace community, there's this like weird tendency to attach aromanticism and asexuality at the hip. So whenever I hear the experiences of other aromantic people, I just can't connect with them because I'm not asexual. I feel sexual.
feelings. I just don't experience romantic attraction, and I don't seek out those kinds of relationships. And sometimes the ace positivity really comes off as sex shaming, and that does hurt because it makes me feel like the ace community is not a place that I am safe or comfortable in. So
Oh, no.
I'm on the ace spectrum, but my experiences with sexuality I just feel like they're very often invalidated.
Well, it's just like this an invitation for intense narcissism. Like allowing yourself to go down that kind of a rabbit hole about like your identity and how you exist. These are things that like nobody gives a shit about at all. Out in the public, like when you meet somebody, you interact with another person. The idea that this would be at the top of your list of things to care about in a social situation or in a community seems a little fucked up. Seems a little ill thought out. Prophet says, if America fell tomorrow, these people would be dead of starvation and exposure within a week. Yeah, I think most people would. Well, maybe not most people. Probably a hot 60% of the country would not be able to handle or deal with like an infrastructure collapse, you know? Prophet says, my family can't even raid their homes because they have no weaponry or food that isn't laced with soy and high fructose corn syrup. That's true. When we go out, when it turns into Mad Max, there ain't going to be a lot to get there. Not going to be a lot that you're going to be able to mine from these households. Wow. Wow. Calling women females is a microaggression. I was going to stop, but I feel like I'm being clickbaited. I see the headline, I'm like, oh, I got to see what that's all about. Gotta see what that's about. This person seems like they know what they're talking about.
Hi, Benji here, and
Whoa.
This is why calling women females is a microaggression. Microaggressions are indirect forms of discrimination with implied negative connotations that are usually directed at members of societally marginalized groups. They're a powerful discriminatory force that reinforce societal prejudices. Females refers to the sex of animals that produce eggs, whilst only humans can be women. Therefore, referring to women as females carries an implication that is objectifying and dehumanizing. We also live in a patriarchal society where men hold power over women, and we don't typically refer to men as males in common conversation. Therefore, the use of the term females, especially from men, reinforces the patriarchy and...
What the fuck is that? Where is he getting that? Like, we don't refer to men as males in common parlance and common conversation? Sure you do. If you're describing a group of people, you might say males, you might say boys, you might say men, just like with women. You say women, girls, females. These are pretty interchangeable in culture. Like, these people don't want that, though. They don't want it to be like that. No. We gotta deconstruct everything until it just means absolutely nothing. Prophet says, it's so sad that we fled from Afghanistan and failed to provide their culture with poo-poo, pee-pee, butt sex, and OnlyFans. Well, I think there are gradations there. Some pretty horrific footage coming out of Afghanistan. I can't lie. Stuff kind of bummed me out earlier. But we'll talk about that another day, I'm sure.
The systemic subordination of women. This doesn't mean that every man who refers to a woman as a female is sexist, but it's important that we carefully consider the impact of our words.
I really hate his entire demeanor. His affectation is so cunty. I don't know what better word to use. It just comes off as so cunty. Just listen to how he says this. Come on.
Subordination of women. This doesn't mean that every man who refers to a woman as a female is sexist, but it's important that we carefully consider the impact of our words as they hold power. Bye.
Follow for more inclusion tips. What do you say? Well, why calling women females is a microaggression? I don't feel like he really ever got there. He just says that, like, because if you call a woman a female, you are innately, it's like a term of objectification. Is that breeder status confirmed?
And this is why calling women females is a microaggression. Microaggressions are indirect forms of discrimination with implied negative connotations that are usually directed at members of societally marginalized groups. They're a powerful discriminatory force that reinforce societal prejudices. Females refers to the sex of animals that produce eggs, whilst only humans can be women. Therefore, referring to women as females carries an implication that is objectifying and dehumanizing.
That seems like he's taken it a little far. That's a little broad. Because, yeah, now this is when he's going to go on to say that, like, well, we don't call, a group of men males. I don't know. You don't oftentimes, at least I don't. I'm trying to think. Do I, refer to women as females unironically? Definitely not. I know some people do as kind of like a joke. You're hanging out with the boys. You're like, oh, these females, man. That's usually when it would come out. I don't know if that is because you're referring to them as animals. Big Paul says, because general vernacular does use males and females can be used for animals like every video. It makes sense if you don't think about it. Insert clip of Sweet Dick Willie saying, now that's some stupid shit. Exactly. Oh, man, get the fuck out of here.
We also live in a patriarchal society where men hold power over women, and we don't typically refer to men as males in common conversation. Therefore, the use of the term females, especially from men, reinforces the patriarchy and the systemic subordination of women. This doesn't mean that every man who refers to a woman as...
I think every man that refers to a woman as female is sexist. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to take it further than this guy. Whatever his name is. Jesus Christ. Jesus. Not cool. Oh, yeah, let's just... I wanted to see if there was more teacher ones. Okay, there's a few... they're here. Okay. Here's a two-parter. This is another teacher. I don't know if what grade she teaches. Maybe she'll tell us. I have a vague recollection of this video, but I know she's a teacher.
So I just finished the first day back to school, high school English teacher, right?
This is my intro activity where the kids go around and snoop around my room and write down observations and then come up with a teacher bio, making assumptions about me and stuff. And then I ask for these and confirm or deny their suspicions.
And so this one kid was not so sure about saying his, but I was like, no, it's fine. I give you full permission to judge me and make assumptions. Obviously, it's the only time I'll do that. And he was like, well, are you lesbian? And I was like, wait, what gave it away? What gave it away? So I just finished.
But that's weird. She has her classroom decorated like her bedroom, like if she was a teenager.
Desks in these diagonals.
Hold on. So this is the part 2 of this. I guess she did a follow-up because people needed to know more. They needed to know more.
A lot of you were asking for a classroom tour. I'm not going to show my full name, but check that out. Those are cute from Michael's. Here's an overview of the whole thing. Got my desks in these diagonals just so the kids aren't breathing.
They really do look like fucking prisons. Just getting the full scope of a modern classroom. They really do.
Directly on each other. Resource cart for the students, all the kind of supplies that they might need. This is how I handle absent students. So I just put at the end of the day, extra copies of everything, and they know Monday through Friday, come pick up an extra copy. I teach in an ancient building, so we still have a chalkboard that I love and use so much. So I have school news, class news.
Is that not normal to have a chalkboard anymore? I know this doesn't really have anything to do with the more scandalous angle of this video, but is that not a thing? Are chalkboards not a thing?
This week, last week, that's where I write my agenda of everything. So again, students know what is going on. Moving over this way, my tapestry I got from Barcelona, pictures hanging everywhere, which helps with that first day of school activity. These are thank you notes from students and just little teacher appreciation things. this border that I added to my desk instead of on a bulletin board, Target dollar spot, run, don't walk. Oh, the pens and sticky notes, obviously. This is my desk setup, and I've got all my little mugs, super cute. Yes, my bookshelf is in rainbow order, the top shelf at least. The rest are just whatever. More resources, that's where I store my like worksheets for the week. And then of course this wall that everybody loved so much. I made all these little ones here and I will be posting them soon. Okay. Another bulletin board with like pictures from kids and whatever. This, I have them store their composition books here and leave them here for in-class work and like bell work and stuff and notes, just so I don't have to worry about them losing it. And these are magnet bins right here, where they turn everything in. That is super dope. Got it from my sister. And of course this.
And of course have your your flag there. Prophet says, all these clips of genderqueer folks, teachers bragging about indoctrinating children really flies in the face of homophobes claiming they are trying to indoctrinate children. Most classrooms have whiteboards now, Shaun, not chalkboards, because of the patriarchy. Well, you know, anything that helps in the cause of bringing that sucker down. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, white rage is scary? I don't know. Hold on, I know there's actually that video. I was gonna look at it a while ago. Gay choir song. It's like a San Francisco choir. Yeah, the message from the gay community. I've never actually listened to it. I just saw clips from it. But this would be kind of in line with what we're talking about here. They came out after this video premiered and said it was like satirical. It's supposed to be funny. Not supposed to take it awfully serious, but let's do it anyways.
As we celebrate Pride and the progress we've made over these past years, there's still work to be done. So to those of you out there who are still working against equal rights, we have a message for you. You think we're sinful? You fight against our rights. You say we all lead lives you can't respect. But you're just frightened. You think that we'll corrupt your kids if our agenda goes unchecked.
Prophet says several of these dudes were doxxed as pedo sex offenders, fully registered. Yeah, and that's kind of a trend. Anytime you hear about drag queen story hour or anything like that, there is a lot of opportunistic people trying to leverage, the gay movement or the fact that it's kind of a protected class to a certain degree, and try to leverage that to literally get at your kids. It's not fantasy. It's not a joke. Happens all the fucking time. They don't report it widely for some reason. It just doesn't get national attention that there is like it's not like your average person that's involved in these groups. It's the people that are like active, that they're at the top. They're the ones that push for things. Constantly getting caught and arrested with child pornography or finding out that they were registered sex offenders, like Prophet said a few of these guys were. Like, and I think I remember hearing about that as well.
Funny, just
Prophet says, and they look like they smell of cum. Of coom.
this once, you're correct. We'll convert your children. Happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it. You can keep him from disco, warn about San Francisco, make him wear pleated pants, we don't care. We'll convert your children, we'll make them tolerant and fair.
At first I didn't get why.
I love it. It's just completely mask off, just completely out in the open. And like the fact that it's like, oh, it's a satire, it's a joke. Nah, not really. That's not really what it is. And as we've seen in a few videos already tonight, that is kind of what is being taught and reinforced, especially with the new crop of people, new crop of teachers.
You'd be so scared of us turning your children into accepting, caring people, but I see now why you'd have a problem with that.
Just like you worried, they'll change their group of friends. You won't approve of where they go at night to protest. Oh, and you'll be disgusted when they start finding things online that you've kept far from their sight, like information. Guess what?
You know, it's the craziest thing about this is just that it's not even remotely clever. It's completely hack. It's completely hack. This is just a hack bit. Period. End of story. Not very talented. Maybe you have a voice of an angel. Maybe you do, sir. But your writing abilities leave me wanting. Prophet says, tolerant and fair equals HIV positive and prolapsed.
But you'll still be alright. We'll convert your children, yes we will.
Reaching one and all, there's really no escaping it.
'Cause even grandma likes RuPaul.
And the world's getting kinder.
Gen Z's gayer than Grindr. Learn to love, learn to vogue, face your fate. We'll convert your children.
Well, you know these guys are fun at a party. Oh my god. Oh! It's just like, it's so, the thing that's so pernicious about it is that just kids are just confused. You know, they're totally confused. I mean, fuck, you're an adult, right? Like, you feel it. You're confused about the world as well. But when you're at such an impressionable age, it's kind of like trying to factory farm, factory make little gay kids, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it, you know? Prof says it can be hacked because this isn't a protest song, it's a victory lap. This is like a bit on the Grammys that sucks, but everyone's laughing. I think, you know, that's a pretty apt observation. You're right, it is a victory lap, because they did not think, obviously, when they put this out, that they would get the backlash they did, and that the backlash also came from allies. Because it's just, you're just saying it. You're not supposed to just say it. Not out in public. You leave that for the weirdos on TikTok. They just get to say it, but you're not supposed to from an official platform. You're not supposed to say these kinds of things. No. You leave that for the 24-year-old teaching your pre-K kids about their skin color and gender fluidity and whether or not they feel like a boy or a girl that day. That's what's really important.
Someone's gotta teach them not to hate. We're coming for them.
You know these guys should do? They should go get a fucking shovel and they should do something for their community. They're from San Francisco. Go shovel the human excrement off the fucking sidewalk and go get, like, you know, some hoses and hose it down for people so you guys aren't having to walk through a homeless, crack-infested, feces-infested, needles everywhere. That's not even an exaggeration. Like, there's videos. We could probably go find some. There's some fucking really gnarly places in SF, San Francisco.
We're coming for your children.
Why are these guys in white squares? Anybody noticing that? Very disturbing. Very disturbing. Also, look at this guy. We got a gay Mario over here. Prophet says human excrement is pretty normalized in that community. Take a guess.
Your children will care about fairness and justice for others. Your children will...
Because this is the whole project of, like, modern education, is to cut out parents from being raised. Basically, they want to raise your kids. That's what the whole project is. They have this private time with them that you're not privy to, that you don't have access to, and they indoctrinate them with whatever worldview or ideological perspective that they have. because they don't see themselves as just like educators anymore. They see themselves as activist educators. A lot of them will even say that. They feel like a moral imperative to bring up the next generation to be more equitable and more fair. It's just kind of scary in a weird way. I've even already told the teachers that my son goes to school, I was just like, no, I don't expect you to raise my kid. That's not what I want. That's not what he's here for. He's here so I don't have to teach him to read. But I don't know. We'll see what happens in the next year.
To convert all their sisters and brothers, then soon we're almost certain your kids will start converting you. The gay agenda is coming home. The gay agenda is here. But you don't have to worry, because there's nothing wrong with standing by our side. Get on board in a hurry, because the world always needs a bit more pride.
It's like a tacit threat. It's just like, you guys better get along. You better join in. You better join in. You better do it. Otherwise, things might happen to you. You know, maybe your kids won't talk to you anymore. Maybe you'll lose your family. You wouldn't want that, would you, fella? You know, it's just a thing. Like, I don't have a problem with gay people. I don't care about gay people. But when it gets into, like, the gay lobby, the gay, like, agenda, the activist groups for, at this point, at this time in history, a little redundant. So this is what they do. Because you can't drop that narrative. They cannot drop the narrative of oppression or martyrdom or whatever you want to call it. It's like, it is central to the existence of, like, being an activist in this community. So now that they've won the war, basically, I think what Prophet said is kind of apt. You know, it's a victory lap. The war is over. The war has been won.
You don't have to worry, because there's nothing wrong with standing by your side. Get on board in a hurry, because the world always needs a bit more pride. Come on, try a little pride.
Oh, see, and I love how they have just. Let's go back a second here. How, like, the flag.
Come on, try a little pride.
This is a new thing. This happened this past year, or maybe past 18 months or so. This new flag, that now it's just everywhere. They put it in every single video. I remember when it was a few weeks ago, we watched, like, the Blues Clues, like, inclusive parade or whatever they were doing for Gay Pride Month, and this flag was all over the place. In fact, all of the colors were described, and they were articulated what they mean. They really, when they get, like, as a lobby, as a group, they get something like a symbol or whatever, they just need to push it out there. And that's just another thing. Like, all of them are now, they're all the same. No matter what category they find themselves in, whether you're gay or you're trans or they even just include just, like, black people. It's just like every possibly oppressed minority in the country, now they're all under the same banner. And if you don't like one of them, then you don't like any of them, and you've made a huge mistake.
I will convert your children, then we'll turn to you. Giving up the fear inside is freeing like you never knew. Go and see San Francisco.
Go and turn up that disco.
You'll forget you were ever upset. We'll convert
These guys were fucking stoked. They're like, we get to be the stars of the song? What?
and make an ally of you yet. We'll make an ally of you yet. We'll make an ally of you yet.
Oh yeah, they're just pointing their fingers at you like, we're gonna get you. We're gonna get you. There ain't no escape. There ain't no escape. Well, it's enough of that. It's enough of that stuff. Prophet says after they wrapped filming, They all took poppers and pissed on each other until everyone came. It was so inclusive. Well, yeah. If everybody came. As long as everybody came. If somebody didn't come, well, we may have a problem. But I don't know. What else are we going to fucking do tonight? Where could we go from there? Let's go. You know, this is where we're going to go. So I found this video.
Welcome to my scientifically informed.
Dr. Todd Grande, or Grand. I don't know. We'll find out what he calls himself here. But this guy is just like a dude. He's like a clinical psychologist, I think. And he just gives like his opinion on happenings on the internet and internet people. And he kind of blew up. I knew about him when he was just starting out. I think I found him while watching like true crime stuff, because he'd do like an analysis of somebody like a murderer that I had watched on a different documentary, and I found him, and he's got like such this pure dad energy. And he has this video. It's called 10 Signs You Are Emotionally Immature. So I'm going to go through them, and I'm going to answer honestly, and we're going to see if I'm emotionally immature or not. Is emotional immaturity a mental disorder? We're going to find out. Find out tonight on Nightcap.
Insider look at mental health topics. If you find this video to be interesting or helpful, please like it and subscribe to my channel.
I will.
Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question asks...
Oh, so this is an older one. See, now he's got like a Sats. He's got like a brick wall behind him. So we're getting like OG, original, pure Dr. Grande.
Can review the signs of emotional immaturity. And another question here is emotional immaturity a mental disorder? So I'll answer this question by looking at the 10 signs that you are emotionally immature, and I'll answer the other question about the mental disorder toward the end of the video.
Mm-hmm.
So before I take a look at what it means to be emotionally immature, let's take a look at what it means to be emotionally mature. So emotional maturity is when somebody develops a balance between their intellect and external reality. Sometimes this is just referred to as integrity. This allows somebody to understand reality and craft a response to a situation without being influenced by either positive or negative emotions. There are, of course, other types of maturity. Just like emotional maturity, some of them are really not that well defined. One of the constructs that is relatively well defined would be physical maturity. It's fairly straightforward. It involves biological and structural development. Moving to one that's not so well defined, we see social maturity. This is when someone is open to challenging the values of their parents and beginning the development of their own ideals and ethics. So they're really discovering who they are as an individual, resolving identity issues. This doesn't necessarily mean a rejection of parental values, just a willingness to question them. Now, personality maturity is a little bit better defined than social maturity. We see here with personality maturity, this is how stable one's personality profile is. And usually this is measured by looking at the rank order of the big 5 personality traits. We call this the 5-factor model of personality theory. I remember the 5 factors through the acronym OCEAN: openness to experience, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. The emotional stability component of emotional maturity is actually measured by one of the 5-factor model traits, neuroticism. And the other traits capture different aspects of emotional maturity as well. Higher personality maturity is an indicator of higher emotional and social maturity. So there's a bit of overlap between these constructs. The concept of emotional intelligence overlaps with emotional maturity as well. So now moving to the 10 signs that you are emotionally immature. So just because somebody has one or more of these signs doesn't mean they're emotionally immature for certain. These signs are just associated with being emotionally immature. Now, when the signs clearly line up with a personality trait, I'll indicate that as I go through these signs. So sign number 1 of emotional immaturity is a lack of empathy. This is measured typically on conscientiousness and agreeableness. Empathy is when somebody can cognitively understand how somebody else is feeling.
Prophet says, my outrage train has completely lost steam and my soul is flaccid. I'd love to see a tape of this man having sex with a hooker as hard as he can. I know. He probably would too. He looks like the type.
Emotionally, and they can communicate that understanding to that person. Somebody who's emotionally immature either doesn't have this ability, so they don't have the ability to empathize, period, or they don't want to use the ability. Sign number 2 is overreaction to life circumstances, so a tendency to move toward chaos. This can also be thought of as an external locus of control. This is when somebody doesn't believe that they have any effectiveness in their own life. They believe they are really moved about by external circumstances.
Okay, so that one right there, so the number 2 one, that one speaks to me a little bit, or it has in my past, I suppose, where I definitely felt overwhelmed at times by life. But as I've gotten older, and as you move into things and you take on responsibilities and whatnot, and like you're married, have a kid, it kind of forces you to rise to the occasion a little bit. Like I don't feel so helpless anymore. There was probably a time in my life I actually felt fairly helpless to really affect any tangible or like make progress. I just couldn't like wrap my head around it for some reason. I was really self-destructive in that way. I would self-sabotage anytime I would start like making ground somewhere, whether it was at a job or in a relationship or whatever. I would just sabotage it. Even on a subconscious level, I would just start doing it because I didn't want to kind of accept a new paradigm. I didn't want to accept responsibility for anything, even myself at times, you know?
So kind of just blowing in the wind. They don't have any energy or propulsion of their own. So at this type of behavior, somebody's acting on their emotions. This is something that you see in children. This is kind of goes back to what I was saying about, like, you know, these people that teach your pre-K kids about, you know, like sex and gender and skin color and whatever else they're teaching them. Like the kids don't have any, they're waiting for you to move them about. They're waiting for you, like I said earlier, they're waiting for you to give them an opinion about something because they can't articulate it. They can't really conceptualize things, especially abstract concepts. So it's kind of like that's, you know, a sign of emotional immaturity. Yeah, children have it. And that's why it's a problem when we watch some of these teachers. The type of impulsivity typically measured on conscientiousness. Sign number 3 is failing to take responsibility and blaming others, usually thought of as part of conscientiousness. Somebody here is unable to differentiate their responsibilities from other people's responsibilities. So a person here may say, really, that no matter what happens, it's not their fault. So if they had a part in doing something wrong or they were totally responsible, either way, they don't have any ownership of it at all.
Now, see, this is something I think everybody has a little bit of them in themselves, right? No matter how old you get, there is always that kind of immaturity of not wanting to admit that you're wrong or that you're the problem. But I'll tell you what really cures that is, like, you know, like getting married can be a big salve for that, because if you're trying to have a productive, successful relationship, like, you have to come to terms with you being the problem sometimes in a very direct way, maybe in a way that's more direct than it had been earlier in your life before you had things like that, because of the strength of the connection, or even just being legally binded to somebody. There's a lot at stake, right? So you have an impetus to kind of make it work, and a lot of times that means coming clean with yourself just as much as coming clean for the other person. So they can feel some sort of catharsis, because you can feel like you're crazy. We all gaslight each other to a certain extent, especially in high stress situations where there is some sort of blame to go around to somebody. I think that is a pretty normal thing. And it's something you got to overcome. So I would say for this number 3 category, this is something I have grown out of. Not to say that I was ever particularly bad about it. I've always been pretty good at just like admitting I was wrong, apologizing. But there would always be that, especially when you get into arguments and then it becomes about semantics, and then it really becomes about who has better rhetoric, who's better at arguing than the other person. And that can be really bad. That can be really negative, especially if you're like a quick-witted person. You're talking to somebody that maybe doesn't kind of engage with other people that way. It can be something that you can trick yourself into thinking that you're right all the time, just because you can win an argument. But, you know, once you get more mature, those kind of things go away. Like, it just is not, you know, you understand that, like, being able to win a conversation or win an argument does not mean you're right. It just doesn't.
This is really one level of emotional immaturity. To move it to a more intense expression, we would see this failure to take ownership and blaming somebody else. Much of the time when we see someone who's emotionally immature, these two actions occur one right after the other. So they fail to take responsibility and immediately look for other people that they can blame. Sign number 4 is always going for immediate gratification. So we see here really a failure to plan ahead. This is also a type of impulsivity, but this type is measured on neuroticism. This is the inability to resist temptation. Another effect we see associated with this is if somebody's financially irresponsible. I've seen many examples of this in my clinical experience. A common situation where we see this type of behavior is when somebody wants to buy a particular product intended for recreation, like a video game, and they would be willing to pay $50 to a friend who could sell them that game right now, when they could wait a few weeks and get it from another friend for $10. Another indication using the same...
I definitely have that. I would say that's where I can be emotionally immature sometimes, especially when it comes to buying things. Again, a lot of the things that solve the most of these problems that he's going through is having a family. Because if you're at least even have a modicum of responsibility inside of you, you feel responsible towards another person, especially when you have a kid, that'll beat a lot of the stuff out of you, because it's just practically makes your life really miserable. So you just kind of have to learn better habits, because I definitely would have been like that in the past. I have been like that in the past. I'm even like that sometimes now, where it's like, especially if it's something I really want and I want to get it like the day it comes out, even though I know that in a week or two it'll be cheaper. I know that. And I've certainly fallen victim to that before. Although, recently in the past year or so, really gotten a lot better at it. Because I have kind of an addiction to a certain degree of buying physical media, like buying movies. I'm a big movie nerd, and I have a pretty big library, and I buy a lot of stuff for posterity. And just over the past year or so, I've been able to really slow that down, really slow that train down, kind of just appreciate what I have. And then when I get something, I'm able to splurge a little bit, because I can get something like I really want. Like I really, really want. And I can pay that extra money to get whatever collector's edition of a movie or something like that. Whereas before, I was just crazy, just all over the place. Anytime something was on sale, I was buying stuff, even things I didn't give a shit about. I own the Legally Blonde movies. I own them on Blu-ray. I have never watched them. I don't know if I ever would. But it was just it's only $6. I guess I should get it. That was a problem, at least in my mind. And that goes back all the way from when I was a teenager. I was buying movies instead of buying groceries, Same
example would be if the friend that the person was going to buy the game from at the last minute raised the price to $100. The emotionally immature person would just pay the $100, right? So now there's a difference between $100 and $10, right? A $90 difference. It doesn't matter. They want it right now. Immediate gratification. Sign number 5 is self-centeredness. Now, one could think about self-centeredness as being an unwillingness to allow others to meet their needs at the expense of your own wants. Now, sometimes being self-centered aids in survival. Sometimes it's necessary. But that's not what I'm really talking about here. Rather, I'm talking about situations where people would really lose little or nothing by helping somebody else, but they can't see past their own desires. Whenever they're confronted with a situation, they ask themselves, how does this affect me? And they never ask themselves, how does this affect others? Sign number 6 is hostility. And this is usually measured on neuroticism.
So that last one, it doesn't really apply to me. I'm super cool with that.
Somebody here is quick to anger. They have a pronounced hatred of other human beings, and sometimes of society in general. They personally attack other people who disagree with them. So they have an inability or unwillingness to separate a person from an opinion. If somebody...
See, this is what you do when you get backed into a corner. That's like when you're arguing with somebody, when you're fighting with somebody, that's what you do. You go into what they call ad hominem attacks. You know what I'm saying? If you're familiar with the Debate Bro community on YouTube and Twitch and stuff like that, ad hominems. And you just start attacking the person rather than what you're talking about. And it is super immature. Very immature. I definitely have that ability. I've done it in the past, and I have, just like everybody, I think I will do it sometimes if I get backed into a corner. But again, it's another thing that I feel like slowly have grown out of. But there was a time where I would definitely revert to that, because if I couldn't articulate ideas clearly, because just I didn't have them fully formed. I was young. I was in my early 20s, but I had a pretty quick wit. So I would just go after a person personally and deconstruct them that way, and then feel like I won the conversation. I was able to walk away because I was able to kind of tear them down as a person rather than what the ideas they were espousing. Hagbert says, I hate many people, and anyone who disagrees with me is a giant scumbag. Well, that's true, Hagbert, because you're pretty solid. So in your case, I would say that's just normal. That's just neutral. That's just being a Chad.
Disagrees with them, that person is bad, foolish, or the other person is trying to maintain some sort of agenda. So we see kind of a low trust element here as well. That would be measured on agreeableness. Sign number 7 is deception, and pathological lying would be an extreme version of this. Now, this is measured to some degree on agreeableness. There's a facet called straightforwardness, but there's not a lot of overlap there. Deception is really separate of the 5-factor model for the most part. So related to deception, we also see behaviors like criminality, so involving oneself in criminal acts, or manipulation. Sometimes people lie for money. That's emotionally immature, but lying to impress others is also strongly tied to emotional immaturity.
See, this would have been something when I was young and insecure. I would probably lie to people about things I had done, just because I wanted to fit in more. But these days, I don't know. I've always been pretty good. I'm not a very manipulative person. I really just don't have it in me because I'm too self-aware. And then I think, and I have the kind of the standard, and it's taken me a long way. I've had it since very young about just the golden rule: do unto others as you'd have done to yourself. That's just kind of how I feel. Like if I can conceptualize what it would feel like to have something done to me, most of the time I will not want to do that to another person. Most of the time. Trying my best.
This, of course, overlaps with narcissism, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Sign number 8 is being unable to experience and understand deep feelings and needs. This is kind of similar to a lack of empathy, but here I'm really talking more about specifically being shallow. This is somewhat measured on the openness to experience trait.
Now, if there's one thing that I don't think I am, it's shallow. I mean, I'm sure there's certain subjects and topics that have a more shallow sense of than others, but I don't feel like I'm a very shallow person. I don't know, is that narcissism, though? Is that my narcissism talking? I'm trying to be as honest as possible. I do not find myself to be a very shallow person. In fact, it causes me a lot of problems, socially it causes me problems, because I have a hard time connecting with people on a shallow level. We're at a barbecue and make some small talk. I get bored with that stuff very quickly, which is probably, I'm sure maybe that'll come up. That's another sign of emotional immaturity. Maybe that's the thing I need to work on. But I would not say that I'm a particularly shallow person. I think I'm pretty thoughtful. Whether or not I can always articulate that thoughtfulness, if I can get it across well, that's another story. But I don't find myself very shallow.
Sign number 9 is difficulty setting boundaries. So looking at dependence here, for example. This is when somebody's unable to end or limit relationships that are unhealthy or damaging. Now, I'm not talking about situations where somebody's trapped financially or logistically, like some people are trapped in a marriage with somebody else who's destructive. But rather, this is talking about when people have a clear way out of the destructive relationship and they fail to take action due to feelings of dependence. Sign number 10 is the individual.
Now, I would say that there's definitely been times in my life where I have had that, where especially mostly with with friendships, just kind of basic friendships, where I'm a very loyal person, and sometimes to a fault, where it's I'm being loyal to somebody that doesn't really reciprocate it, but also that I wouldn't really be friends with outside of certain circumstances. And yeah, and that can lead to a lot of bullshit because people tend to pull you into their bullshit. Like everybody's got a center of gravity, you know, and it could just be unhealthy. It could be unhealthy to kind of, I guess, I don't know, not really expose yourself to those things, but like to maybe just to kind of, it kind of damages your moral compass maybe sometimes with certain like circumstances. I can see that. I could see like somebody like falling into that kind of situation. But nowadays, I'm pretty good about just like, especially having a family. Like I said, having a family cured me a lot of these things, I suppose. Really made me grow the fuck up, I guess, is at the end of the day. That's really the way to put it. But yeah, because if you're not good for my family, then you're not good for me. And if you're not good for me, you're not good for my family, because it stops me from being a productive person, a good husband, a good father, whatever.
Has no room for growth. So they figured everything out. They know everything. They have every ability and skill. In a sense, this is like being cynical. Now, a person like this can still appreciate the fact that new information could come their way, that they could use to benefit themselves. But in terms of learning something like a new ability, learning something about society or life or the meaning of life or any of that, this individual has it all figured out. So again, there's really no room for personal development. Only the addition of...
I think there's been periods of my life, probably in my mid-20s, where I had definitely some of this behavior. I thought I had a pretty good bead on things. But just like everything, you know, circumstances change, reveals new things to you, and you have to be open to them. I guess, and maybe that's the differentiator here. It's like whether or not you're open to these things. Kind of like he had just said, like Dr. Grant had just said. Dr. Grande, excuse me.
Information that can be helpful to them. So those are the 10 signs. What about the other question? Is emotional immaturity a mental disorder? Well, it really depends on where you look. In the ICD, which is one classification manual for disorders, we see that there's a category called other specific personality disorders, and one of those types is the immature type. Not emotionally immature, but I think they're pretty similar. In the DSM, though, we have a different story, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, which only looks at mental disorders. We see here there's no such thing as emotional immaturity personality disorder. Clearly, many of the characteristics of emotional immaturity align with certain features of narcissistic, antisocial, borderline, and histrionic personality disorders. These 4 personality disorders make up the cluster B personality disorders, the dramatic erratic cluster. But those are considered fairly extreme manifestations of personality traits, like the personality disorders usually indicate extreme levels on the 5-factor model. Now, emotional immaturity does rise to that level sometimes, in which case a person may be diagnosed with one or more of those personality disorders. But much of the time it's thought of as subclinical. So it can be somewhat distressing, but it's not really going to be the focus of treatment. Somebody doesn't necessarily need to see a mental health counselor just because the individual is a little emotionally immature. In this way, emotional immaturity has a closer relationship to the dark triad traits: narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. The dark triad traits are...
Oh my goodness, Machiavellianism. Oh boy.
...considered subclinical, and we see quite a bit of overlap between these traits and emotional immaturity, although the overlap is certainly not perfect. For example, emotional immaturity is associated with being overly dependent on others. I talked about that before. That's not part of the dark triad traits. I know whenever I talk about topics like emotional immaturity, there will be a variety of opinions. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section.
Well, there you go. I am, I guess I would say I was once emotionally immature, and maybe now I'm a little bit better. That's what I got from that video. Well, let's watch a video of somebody that maybe isn't so emotionally mature. Not as emotionally mature as me. Oh no! I waited too long, guys.
Welcome to my...
The video has been removed. Oh, that sucks. So there was this crazy lady who's like part of a cult, and she was doing vlogs, and I was kind of keeping tabs on her, and I had some... I'm going kind of through... This is like a potpourri episode. I'm kind of just going through some of the older links I had, and the video has been removed. So we're not going to be watching that. I guess I should have checked beforehand. Oh my goodness. What could have revealed itself? Let me see here. What else we got? What else we got? What else we got? I don't know what I've watched and what I haven't watched. Got a lot of old stuff in here. Evil Eyes. How about this one? Let's see. Interview with a sociopath.
What is it like?
All right, let's watch this.
What is it like to be you?
Be quiet. Be quiet, sir. I have not asked you to start the video yet. How dare you? How dare you?
What is it like to be you?
I'll say it's pretty average.
So this is an interview with a sociopath, antisocial personality disorder, and bipolar. This guy looks pretty young. Looks pretty young.
To be honest, if you were on the outside looking in, you would say that it was pretty boring. Because for the most part, I don't. What I tend to do now is I tend to just really stick to myself, because I have to be very careful about how I'm interacting with people and under what context I'm interacting with people. So I tend to limit anything that would be negative for me.
Why do you have to?
Now, I wonder if that's. I'm curious to see, like, because obviously he was diagnosed with this, and is that a healthy way to approach having sociopathy or antisocial personality disorder? Is it the identification of the disorder that actually leads to the behavior of wanting to kind of isolate yourself or cut yourself off from social groups?
Limit yourself.
Because if I encounter a certain kind of person, and if I'm talking to you and I sense a level of weakness,
I will destroy you.
Urge to prey upon that in a way. So in order for me to kind of mitigate that.
Well, what the fuck does he do? What do you mean? I need more context for that. If I see somebody that is weak, I will prey upon them. I'll prey upon them. I mean, that's a pretty intense word to use in the context of like hanging out with people.
I definitely limit my social interactions, and I have to make sure it happens underneath the right context. Otherwise, I just I try to stay away from it.
I have to be fully transparent.
Mm-hmm.
When you reached out to me and I read your diagnoses,
mm-hmm.
I thought to myself, can I trust him?
Mm-hmm.
Can I give him the platform of our audience who I care deeply about?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to try to manipulate me? Are you going to try to manipulate our audience? Are those valid concerns?
Those would be valid concerns for sure. But as I said earlier, I would say I like what you do, because definitely people have voices that need to be heard. And I would hate to, disturb that process in any way.
When you say prey on somebody, what do you mean?
So the way it would work for me is, I'll speak to someone. I won't really tell them much about me. They'll tell me about them. And then once they tell me about them, I'll kind of form a personality. I'll exaggerate certain features about my own personality to match what it is that they're looking to see. And then once I get my goal, whatever that goal is, then I'm done with the situation, and then I move on.
Well, that is textbook sociopathy for sure.
I had feelings that I was strange as long as I could remember.
What was it like to feel strange at a young age?
It was a bit interesting, I would say, because you're kind of able to exist on the fringe. And it's kind of like you're on the outside looking in.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's on the other side of that window pane. So it kind of gives you the freedom to watch and to look and to observe. Especially if you're a quiet person naturally, people can kind of forget that you're there.
Did you feel like a different animal, a different species?
No, I thought everyone else was different. As a kid, I thought they were the weird ones, and
What was weird about them to you?
Like, why are y'all, I guess, why do you get so sad at certain things? Why do you get,
Prophet says, what's strange is this fucking framing. Why are they off center and so close to each other? That's true. This is the perils of doing, do-it-yourself video production. You know, sometimes, although you think you look in the fucking viewfinder, you just like, at least if you know you're going to be sitting on that side of the couch, yeah, like you got to move it. If they were in frame, they could put more space between, and it wouldn't look like softcore interracial. Yeah, it does look like they're about to start something. Like this could, it starts about his feelings about being a sociopath, and then, and then this buck gets broken.
So excited over certain things. Like, it's not, I just looked at it like it's not natural. I wasn't really able to relate to other people. And when people would get extremely angry or extremely sad, I would say as a kid more so I would actually get annoyed, or if people would get overjoyed and, sometimes people get super excited. They jump up and down, they clap. As a kid, I would get annoyed by that because it's like, I don't understand what's the purpose of this overt display? It doesn't do anything for anyone. Just the fact that you got good news, it doesn't make the good news better if you jump up and down about it. So I sat back and I watched people, and I watched how they were able to do things, and I used this information to outsmart people. I was able to outsmart a lot of my teachers. That's kind of how it started.
Well, is that just being clever to a certain degree? I mean, being able to identify like personality types and the types of people you're around. I suppose when you augment your own behavior to do that, then maybe, there's something to the sociopath aspect of it. But like it's, that's like being a good poker player, if you will, right? Like you get the read of the table, kind of listen to the way people talk and how they hold themselves, and it can kind of be a little bit of a window into the types of players they're going to be. Is that being a sociopath? I don't know. Prophet says, look at black data over here.
Manipulation and the lying. I would outsmart a lot of my teachers. I would come up with lies on the spot. Like I would come into class and my teacher would ask, where's the homework? I would tell her, oh, my dog, he got rushed to the hospital last night. We were there late until about 3 a.m. and there was this problem and that problem and that problem. And I don't even have a dog, never had a dog.
So would it be correct to say that when you meet somebody, you kind of size them up and you say, okay, this person shouldn't or should be manipulated?
It's not should or shouldn't be. If I have something that I want to get, then I'm gonna do my best to get it.
Since I walked in here and we started talking, have you sized me up at all and analyzed any of my weaknesses and how they could be manipulated?
I mean, when I was watching your videos, I thought about it, but I wanted this to be kind of like more of an honest format.
Well, that's like the weird thing. It's like being a sociopath is like if you're aware of what you're doing, maybe you've moved on to something beyond being a sociopath. Maybe it's this Machiavellian sort of thing that Dr. Grande had brought up. I don't know. That's like kind of just passing the buck. Like, I just can't help myself. If you're aware of something, then you can find coping strategies. You can work against that. I don't know if like the coping strategy of just like not talking to people is a very healthy one. Like you kind of intimated at the beginning.
But no, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to. And it's also, I don't really gain anything from doing that in this situation anyway.
Can a person...
Of course he does. He gets to ingratiate himself to the interviewer. That would be the goal of this. He has already said, he's like, well, I like your videos. I like what you're doing. I think you give a voice to people. Well, then you're going to want to please this person. You're going to want to be, in some respects, the perfect interview for this guy. Wouldn't that be sociopathic? So we don't know. This guy could be just totally just mind fucking this dude, mind freaking him.
Ever fully trust a sociopath though?
I would say that you have to, if this is someone that you actually care about, you have to spend time with them and see actually where their head is at, I would say. And I would say if this is, in most cases, you wouldn't even know. To be honest, you wouldn't know until they did something to you, if I'm being honest.
You wouldn't know until it's too late, dude. He's like, you ain't never gonna see me coming unless it's on your face.
So, but if you're meeting someone like me who is gonna, who will tell you that this is what I'm going through, I would say watch them. Watch and see how it is they react to certain things. See if they, are prone to outbursts. See if they're willing to lie to you. See if they're willing to manipulate you.
So I find it interesting that you said in order to trust a sociopath, you have to watch them, observe them, and understand their behavior. So it's almost like you want people to act like you, or you only understand the world from your perspective.
I wouldn't say it's that I necessarily want people to act like me. I look at it like it's more so about your own safety, in a way. If you're dealing with someone that does have those kind of issues, they do have strong urges. That's where, the observation point comes in, because you can't always perceive certain things like that based off of emotions. I'm really good at faking emotions, so you wouldn't, if you're going off of emotional basis, you wouldn't know.
When would you say is the last time you've manipulated somebody?
He's like at the gas station on the way over here. I got a hot dog and a drink. Told the cashier, oh, hold on a second. I thought this was a deal. I thought I got a discount. That sign over there, it says it. Sweets talks him. Gets that discount. Get that hot dog.
It's been about a year.
A year?
Yeah, it's been about a year.
How have you gone a year without that?
Well, what did he do? What is the standard for manipulation for this guy? He's like, well, I defrauded somebody.
I kind of limit my social interactions. I make sure I'm not dealing with certain kinds of people.
Did you always understand the negative effect manipulation can have on others?
No, I didn't always understand why people had an adverse reaction to it. Because in a way I kind of looked at it like a game, and you lost.
Do you feel ashamed about people you hurt in the past?
Shame, not necessarily, but I do look at it as being inadequate.
You being inadequate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
It's low frequency. Low frequency actions, low frequency emotions. That's really all. That's how I look at it. It's just... It doesn't really help anyone. I guess it serves me. I get to fulfill a sensation, but then I have to fulfill the sensation again. So you could say, even for me, it's not working. So when you kind of think about it logically like that, and you gain insight, which is the issue, people that have, that diagnosis, it's hard for them to have insight in terms of what other people are experiencing. So, you have
but he clearly has kind of indicated that he does have a sense of what other people are feeling. Like, if you can intellectually understand that being manipulated by a person is a negative thing and it's going to make them feel bad or feel mistrust for you or whatever, well, then you do understand, because it kind of suggests that you don't accept the consequences of your actions. But he accepts it. Maybe, internally, I suppose the idea that he doesn't really feel bad about it, though. Like he said, he's like, well, I wouldn't categorize it as shame. I don't really have shame, but I do understand what I'm doing. It's kind of interesting.
You have to just gain a level of insight, I would say.
What are all of your diagnoses?
Black on a Friday night.
When it comes to antisocial personality disorders, specifically, you can see a lot of overlap with different conditions. So for me, I have bipolar disorder. There's the antisocial personality disorder, and then also I have some traits of borderline personality disorder. Typically, a person with the antisocial personality disorder, if they're getting diagnosed, it's because either someone asked them to go that was close to them, that's hurt by their actions, or they did something illegal. And now they have to see someone.
Why did you seek out therapy in the first place?
Because I was going through, for quite some time, I was going through basically bipolar episodes. And it was unusual for me because there would be times where I'm like feeling a level of happiness, like this kind of overt happiness. And then there would be just this deep depression where I don't want to leave bed, or I'll be intensely angry, or I'll be so numb that it basically, you know, I wish I was dead in certain circumstances. And that was unusual for me because throughout my life, I was used to not really feeling too much. And I do feel like, you know, the bipolar disorder kind of resulted from the antisocial personality disorder.
Yeah, it's almost like your chemistry or your body or mind is trying to like overcorrect for the lack of emotional stimulation, that you can't feel these things. And also being antisocial, you're just not receiving any input at all. So like, you know, removing yourself from society is not always a great thing.
I feel like it came from me just, I guess, trying too hard to feel like I was a regular person. And then it never works for too long, because in order for you to have people close to you for a prolonged amount of time, they're going to find out that something's wrong.
Did you have any fear with telling the world your diagnoses?
No, because, I mean, I've already been called, you know, all kinds of things. So I don't think it really makes a difference to me. It doesn't change my life in any way, no.
Do you have any type of emotional reaction when people call you those negative things?
It depends, you know, because if it's something where I guess you could say I'm trying to be genuine, because I'm not always manipulating and lying to people with the intent of deceiving them. Sometimes I'll do it to make them comfortable. So if I'm putting in all this effort to be something, to make you more comfortable, and it's not received, that can have an effect on me.
You've smiled a few times in this interview.
Yeah.
Is that something you tell yourself to do to make me feel more comfortable?
Yeah, I smile a lot. You know, especially if I'm in regular conversation, you were to see me on the street, yeah, I'll be smiling a lot. It disarms people. You know, it makes them more comfortable.
Do you have the capability of feeling empathy for others?
He's like, are you tricking me right now?
Not in the same way that an average person would. So say, for example, if someone came up to you and they told you, oh, you know, my grandma just died last night. You may feel intrinsically sad when they tell you that. You know, you may feel sensations almost as if your own grandmother passed away. For me, it's not like that. I won't say that I don't care. That's harsh. But it doesn't make me sad to hear that at all. So instead, what I'll have to do is I'll have to logically understand that, okay, this is an event that people typically get sad at. So I would have to find words of confidence to give them. You know, I'm sorry that happened to you. I know that must be hard. Is there anything I could do? Would you like to?
You know, sometimes I have this problem. Hagbert says, if you came across a tortoise on its back, what? Where's the tortoise? What are you talking about? No. Just listen to me. If you came across a tortoise on its back, wonderful reference to the film Blade Runner. You should all go see it. The opening scene.
Talk, things like that. My grandfather passed when I was about, I was 5 or 6. I remember sitting on my father's lap and he was crying. And I remember wiping the tears off his face and telling him it was going to be okay. You know, I understood that my grandfather was gone and he wasn't going to be coming back. But at the same time, I didn't understand why all the tears. I would say I ended up becoming very perceptive to people. It's not like a thing where sometimes people, like, I don't know if you can do it, but people can walk into a room and kind of feel the mood without even really interacting or looking at anybody in the room. I can't necessarily do that, so I'll have to walk in. I'll have to look at people.
See, that's something I actually am pretty good at, actually. I'm pretty good at reading a room. Pretty good. It doesn't always stop me from being myself, but I will know, and then I'll feel bad appropriately if I don't act in accordance with the room. But I feel you, buddy. I feel you.
Observe, any body language. And then from there, I would go off of that. So just all of that, basically, that is just simulated emotions that I've been using.
When was the last time you felt happy?
I found that goddamn Pokemon card. Let me tell you what, buddy, these things are not in every pack.
I don't know. Truly, I don't know.
When was the last time you pretended like you felt happy?
Oh, all the time. Yeah, all the time. Because, it makes people uncomfortable. If they're around someone, like, how do you not, experience joy?
Would it be correct to call...
It's interesting because the whole paradigm of this conversation is wrapped around him being a sociopath and adapting to whoever he's speaking to. So he could totally just be feeding this guy just kind of what he wants to hear. Kind of like he is playing a character, even for this dude, right? Like if we're going to take him at face value, we're going to take him seriously. That would be what he's doing, right?
Call you a sociopath?
I mean, if you thinking in terms of scientific terms, sociopathy, they kind of discarded that term a while ago. But in terms of what most people understand it to be, I would say yes. Layman's terms, yes.
Do you have the desire to have a close relationship and maybe even get married in the future?
I'm not sure yet. That's something that I debate with myself, and I'm not 100% sure if I want to get married and have children. The notion of it seems reasonably nice to me, I would say, but I don't know if it would be 100% possible. Because when you speak about romantically, it's difficult to get people to understand that is, people start to feel inconsequential. When I tell them it's not necessarily, it's not really you. Like if I like a person, me liking a person is based off of traits that I notice within them that I feel like would be basically beneficial for me going down the road.
Well, that's kind of everybody, and to a certain degree. I mean, sure, there is kind of the early dalliances of relationships and kind of a primal attraction, or even like a lustful attraction. But at some point, like when you meet somebody, like it definitely goes through your mind in terms of even if on a subconscious level about like what is this person going to do for me in my life? How are they going to help me? What are they going to turn me into? Those are I think those are normal things. And I feel like, when you make the decision to like kind of spend your life with somebody or at least give it a go, I feel like those got to be factors. Can't just be the sociopaths.
And I would like to explore those traits further. So it's hard to kind of explain to someone that, is in an emotional sense, in a romantic sense, I'm not super connected. For me, it's a sense of duty and commitment. So I'm going to do things for you because you are who you are to me. But people, they in relationships, they want more. They want a little bit more from you. So it gets to the point where I'll basically put that mask on to make them happy. But I can't hold it up forever. So they find out that there are some, inconsistencies there in terms of the emotions. And when you're trying to get someone to see past the emotional aspect and just look at it in the sense of, how I look at it, I'm committed to you. They don't really, it's hard to kind of explain that. People start to feel like, they're inconsequential. It's not really me that matters. If I want to connect to someone.
Which is a weird thing to say. Like if a person were to feel like, oh, it's not really me that matters. You've kind of sized me up and you've categorized like kind of like the pros and cons. That's pretty normal but like it doesn't mean they're inconsequential because like it's them. They are those things. They are the thing that's going to offer you all of this potentially a better life or success or progress or whatever, however you want to categorize it. Like that's there. That's real. That's not like separate from them, technically. Unless like the argument is that like, well, it could be anybody with those things. I don't know.
Like in a relationship, for example, if I meet someone that I have an interest in romantically, like I can't like you the same way, like, you know how people like each other. I don't feel any emotional attachment to that. So in order to make someone comfortable and lack of emotional attachment, you know, I have to wear a mask. Like, I have to remind myself to tell my family members I love them. You know, I have to remind myself to maintain in contact with my friends and things like that. So, you know, it can be off-putting, you know.
You know, I definitely have some of that myself. I am notoriously bad at keeping in touch with people. Notoriously. In fact, my best friend, Big Paul, he could tell you. Big Paul is the one that reaches out. Almost, I would say 90% of the time. And it's not because I don't care or I don't want to like talk to that person. It's just that I make a series of assumptions about people's lives that they're like too busy for me. So I just never reach out. And and it's something I'm getting over as I get older, because I meet like good people, like, Prophet, Big Paul. Like, I really need to talk to people sometimes about things going on in my life. But I always just feel like a burden, so I don't do it, Prophet says, fucking Peanut Arbuckle listens to Machiavelli a couple of times, and all of a sudden he's Chocolate Patrick Bateman. Get the fuck out. Press X to doubt.
If I'm not exaggerating a bit.
So I want to make sure I'm interpreting this.
Well, this is kind of going in circles. So this has got another 16 minutes. I think we're going to bail because, I got you, buddy. I understand where the guy is coming from. He's a sociopath. It's not that it's uninteresting, though. But it is a little redundant. It just kind of gets repetitive. It's kind of the same thing. He's answering the same questions like just different ways, I suppose. But, so what's this next video? Got a fun one. Maybe we'll discover something else about mental stuff. I'm a hot piece of disabled booty. Will my date agree? Dating different. Going back to the old Truly Well. I just saw this come through my timeline. I was like, oh, here we go. Hot date. You ready? You ready to take this this rocket chair ship?
Today I'm going on a blind date with someone. I know absolutely nothing about this guy. I'm bored of people thinking that I cannot be in.
I'm gonna start screaming. Oh my god, I wish I could play the Peanut Arbuckle thing right now. But YouTube will 100% claim that. 100 any Cartoon Network thing, anything Adult Swim, immediately. Doesn't matter if you play 1 second of it or 2 minutes of it.
We're in 2021, like, people are in wheelchairs. This ass comes with a wheelchair. We're a package deal if they don't like it. I overshare my entire life.
Overshare something about your life with me right now.
Last week, I hooked up with... Hi, Fluffy. I'm a young, single, hot...
She hook up with a dog? Is that what she was saying? Holy shit. Oh, hold on. Gotta put my camera back in its rightful place. But yeah. There's a couple, maybe we'll check it out after this. There's a guy who's even more disabled than this girl. And he's married to a pretty attractive chick, and they do a vlogging series. If I can remember the name.
A piece of disabled booty, and I want to show that off. My name is Alex. I'm an Instagram influencer. I'm
Of
really
course
involved
you
in,
are.
like, the advocacy space. Having a physical disability, it really does affect every part of your life. I need caregivers, I need help doing things, I need to plan my life a little bit more. This is all I know, this is my life. So I'm getting ready for a blind date. I've never gone on a blind date before, and yeah, this is gonna be interesting. I kind of feel bad for this guy. I feel like he doesn't know what he's getting himself into, but it's fine. I was recently dating this guy, but I found out that he had a girlfriend the entire time.
Prophet says, oh shit, she needs to find that dude that got swagged out by T-Rex. If you don't know, that is from $1 Million Extreme World Peace. Hagbert says a few glasses of wine, some peanut butter. Nigel Tufnell is doing her makeup, of course.
An asshole. In a man, I like having good style for sure. Someone that's creative. Obviously, abs are like an added bonus. Not saying that.
See, she's a girl that's not afraid to just throw out there whatever she wants. What she wants, you go, girl. You get. You're a man. Do not lower your standards because of your circumstances.
They have to have them. I'd be a hypocrite, right? Like, but yeah, the abs are nice. Oh, I love it. It looks cute.
God damn it, Hagbard. You almost made me choke on my whiskey. So are functional legs.
I really hope that my date doesn't try to look past me being in a wheelchair. That would be kind of ableist if he looked past it. It puts the idea out that being disabled is a bad thing, and it isn't. This ass comes with the wheelchair.
Okay, so so if he ignores it, if he doesn't acknowledge it, that he's ableist, if he tries to treat her too normal, like too much of a normal person, well, you're not giving me my clout. This is disabled clout. You know, there was a time where the more normal you were treated, the better you felt. But now it's like, no, you just recognize it and feel uncomfortable with me. Prophet says, not going to lie, I stand over her and jerk off. Yeah, sure, why not? I would too. I probably would too. Listen, I'm a generous man. I'm a good guy. Good guy Shaun over here. I'm not going to leave her empty-handed or without cum all over her face.
We're a f***ing package deal if they don't like it.
I'm Daniel Estrada. I'm 22 and I'm a musician.
And I'm looking for a green card.
I don't know much about my date. I know she has some kind of disability, but that's it. I don't even know her name. I hope to meet someone cool on this date. I've never had a blind date before, so it'll be a great experience.
This poor bastard. This poor bastard. This poor guy. What does he doesn't know the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mask up.
My name is Daniel.
How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. Do you mind if I take this off?
Yeah.
I actually don't know your name. So
I'm Alex. Yeah.
Pleasure.
Hey. Oh, hey.
Oh, I love the confidence. She's like, I'm Alex, bitch. You looking for to live here forever?
Thank you.
Oh, what's up? Thank you. Appreciate it.
My ideal date would be a guy that is fun and he's gonna ride on the back of my wheelchair while feeding me a White Claw while we driving to the sunset. So where are you from?
While feeding her a White Claw. How romantic. And riding off into the sunset. This girl is a romantic. She's just, out there looking for love. Oh my God. She might get it with this guy. She might get it. What do you do? I work on computers.
I'm from El Salvador.
When did you
El
come
Salvador.
here?
I used to work with a lot of people. When I worked in Cambridge, I worked with a lot of people from El Salvador. I would say 97% of the people I worked with were from El Salvador. They used to speak Spanish all the time in front of me, and I didn't know what they were saying.
I came here like 5 years ago or so.
Okay.
But I've been liking it. It's really cool.
Wait, so how old are you?
I'm 22. What about you?
Oh my God, you're young. Holy f***.
Oh, wait. How old are you?
How old do you think I am?
Oh, I don't want to guess.
Guess.
30. I don't know. How old are you?
30. I'm hurt.
I don't know. 26? 7? Okay. Not bad.
Ooh, it's raining. Oh my God, we should move.
Yeah, let's get out of here. Yeah.
Prophet says, imagine his abuela just happens to have a handicapped van. Match made in heaven. He's like, oh, my grandmother is just like this. Oh, you come with me. We go for a ride. We go to drive-in movie theater.
Could you grab this for me?
That was more of a Russian accent.
I don't really, talk about my disability too much unless it comes up. I just act like myself. I don't...
You literally said before this that if your wheelchair and your disability is not acknowledged, you find that a form of ableism. This is a person you cannot win with. You can't win with this person. Everything is just set up for failure.
Don't make a big deal, so they don't really make a big deal either. Thank you.
No problem.
I haven't been in many relationships in general. I'm very independent. Much better.
Yeah, it's better.
We want a guy
Wow.
with substance.
Well, as independent as she can be. I hate to be mean. I'm not trying to be cruel, okay? But this senorita's got an attitude. This is a tattoo on her. Say Excelsior? Is that what it says? Oh, she's a nerdy girl.
Which, for some reason, is kind of hard to find these days.
Well, I'll go to the bathroom. Be right back, okay?
All right.
All right, roll for me.
Sounds good.
Don't roll away or nothing.
We moved tables because it started to rain. You carry my drink for me, so that is a good sign. Obviously, he knows I'm disabled. He's seen my wheelchair, and he didn't seem very fazed by it, which is...
Oh, do you think he saw that? Do you think he picked up on that minor detail? She's saying it well, he noticed that I have a crooked foot or something.
what I was hoping for, which is nice. I'm pretty raunchy and fun, and he may be a little vanilla.
Dude, this girl sucks a dick like a Hoover. You know she does. You know that's what this chick is all about, sucking dudes' dicks. I know. Is that not cool for me to say? You could just tell. You can just tell.
And he is very young.
Hagbert says, want to come back to my place and watch Silver Bullet or Freddy Got Fingered? Freddy Got Fingered. Secret masterpiece.
He's 22, so I don't know.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
I'm back. So, I've never been on a date I've been on dates, but not on a blind date.
What did you think I was going to be like?
Well, they didn't tell me much information about you. They just told me you had some sort of condition.
Yeah, I have SMA, so it's a type of muscular dystrophy.
Yeah, she's going to use your strong hand, Prophet. Her, Chris Elliott, reaching down. Going to grab that thing.
So it's just a neurological muscle disorder. It's progressive. And yeah, it just makes me weaker, in simple terms. I don't know, people are like, oh my god, I feel so bad for you. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, exactly.
Bodies are different, obviously, and people really stigmatize disabled bodies, but I'm like, baby, I'm cute, whatever, disabled, not disabled, wheelchair.
I mean, I don't have any strong opinions about wheelchairs.
Right. Yeah, you seem very...
What a weird thing to say. I don't have any strong opinions about wheelchairs. Well, I guess, you're in that situation. You're kind of being questioned like this. I suppose that is a thing to say. So you are a genuine physicist, Hagbert says.
open and whatever.
Yeah. It doesn't even really affect me. So it's cool. I just wish that there were more places that had ramps and things to help disabled people.
Me too. I feel
He's like, yeah, there's ramps and stuff. You can go places. Nowadays, you can get places. You go wherever you want, What a nice guy. He's trying.
People like to say, oh, my disability doesn't define me, but I feel like for me, my disability really defines a huge part of my identity and my creative side. I feel like without SMA, I probably...
The entire generation tried to get away from the concept that you would be defined by something like that. Now, I guess maybe it just didn't take. It just didn't take, so people just lean into it now. Or is it just always a way to... It's something you can just always just use that as a reason for why something did or didn't happen, I suppose. So almost it'd be a coping mechanism. Hagrid says, I can carry on my back like Yoda. I could see them going around the resort. Go this way. Get me my White Claw. You will.
Would not be the same person at all. I overshare my entire life.
Overshare something about your life with me right now. Something that's gonna make me uncomfortable.
I like to suck dicks, and I got a wet pussy like all the time.
Can't do it on camera.
Don't.
Like last week, I hooked up with a 51-year-old.
15-1?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was interesting.
Yeah, you get that elderly discount when you go to IHOP, so that's cool.
The AARP, right?
Yeah.
If you were going to have a response to that, probably the best response you could possibly have to that. Probably the best response. He got 51's not that old, though. You know, I don't know what these kids are thinking. They just think everybody's so old. Oh, you're over 40. You're ancient. How dare they? How dare they? AARP. Come on now. She's liking it, though. She finds this very charming. And he's not worried about it. He's about to have the experience of his life. You can dine out on this story for at least 10 years.
Want to head out?
Yeah,
let's go.
I think the day went super well. He was very nice. He was a lot younger than I expected.
I don't know if you're willing to go somewhere else. I'm down for that.
Yeah, let's do it. He was very sweet and kind. Overall, I would say it was a good date.
Yeah, what do you think he's going to do? What do you think he's going to do? He's got cameras around him.
Absolutely.
He wants to be a fucking citizen of this country.
I think Daniel will want to see me again. I think I'm a catch.
I'm down to see her again.
Yeah, I think it went really good. Plus, I really want to see him play piano.
Maybe guitar too.
Wait, you play acoustic?
Yeah.
Definitely want to see that.
You'll see.
Gonna be busting out some Dave Matthews. Zoomer Fez about to fuck in wheelchair. Oh my God, Hagbard. You're always so good. Your jokes are always so tight. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Dating different. Okay, well, what else we got here? Love don't judge. So we have somebody with a skin disorder. I think my bald head is sexy, but will my blind dates? Let's go with the bald one. Let's go with the bald chick.
I absolutely love being bald. I feel like it's shaped me into the person I am today. I'm getting set up on a blind date where the individual does not know that I'm bald. I always try to set my expectations low.
Is this a by choice balding? I feel like, maybe we'll find out. I suppose we'll find out. She does look a little bit like the Kingpin. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. Looks a little bit like the Spider-Man villain, the Daredevil villain, Kingpin.
Whenever I go on dates, I have been disappointed. People have had adverse reactions to my alopecia.
See that? Okay, she has alopecia. Well, at least she's clean downstairs. That's the silver lining of alopecia. Like, well, I'm not gonna be dealing with the jungle. I'm not Upton Sinclair.
How do I think he'll react? I think that he will. I don't know. I'm getting ready for my blind date and I'm feeling really nervous, but really excited, kind of hopeful, but mostly nervous. I think what makes dating hard is just that I don't fit the beauty standard. And so already going into a date knowing that, I don't look like most girls. So I'm Kiara, I'm 23. When I was 10 years old, I actually started losing my hair. Just started with a few bald spots and then progressed until I was 12 and all my hair completely fell out. I was just not at a point in my life where I felt comfortable being bald. I just could not handle it. I'm 23 now, the joke's on me, but it ended up being my greatest blessing. Do I look different? Yes, but alopecia is also a reason that I have a lot more genuine connections with people. It takes a lot for a man to feel confident dating a bald woman.
She looks like, that sucks. That sucks. Like, imagine being a child and, going bald or anything, having to, learn how to cope with that. So, I suppose, if you're going to look like Yul Brynner from The King and I mean, she could wear wigs, but she also doesn't have to. This is a more legit situation. little bit more legit.
Woman. How do I think he'll react? I think that he will. I don't know.
Well, are you going to be wearing the fake lashes or not? I suppose that's kind of key. I mean, this is Kingpin status. Oh my God, I feel really bad. I feel really bad making fun of this person. Honestly, like my heart hurts a little bit because this is probably a really nice person.
I'm feeling extra nervous, I guess. Now that I'm actually in the cafe, it feels a lot different.
I'm Michael Mims. I'm 28 years old. A little bit nervous. Dating in LA is very difficult. I've dated some pretty crazy people during the pandemic.
Hello, hi, how are you?
I dated some pretty crazy people. I wish they had more like pandemic dating videos. I want to see what that was all about. Like, what was that like for these people that would actually do this? Do people have to take tests? That would be like the new thing. Like, instead of checking somebody's age, you have them stick a fucking cotton swab up their nose and do a rapid response test just to make sure. Just to make sure before anybody does anything, before anybody goes down on anybody.
How's it going?
I'm Kiara, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Michael.
So, a little bit nervous, not gonna lie.
Yeah, same here. It's like my first time doing like one of these things.
Same.
This is like totally different, but I mean, we are coming from a world where everything's been different, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly, if I was her, I would run. This guy sounds like a serial killer. He's wearing Star Wars paraphernalia on his shirt. And, you know, I like Star Wars just as much as the next person, but these days, it's an identifier. Anything post The Last Jedi, you're like, what are you talking about liking Star Wars? They ruined it. They wrecked it.
The one thing about living in like this part of LA, there's like so many good food spots.
Yeah,
I'm
understandable.
Definitely a food guy.
The way that people react to alopecia, there's like a variety of different reactions that I'm used to. I would say 7 out of 10 times people don't know what it is. I've definitely had some off-putting like reactions. That's just not something that I'd ever be super interested in. Like, you have a pretty face, but like, do you ever wear a wig? So many guys have asked me like, oh, do you often wear a wig then? Like, as if insinuating like they'd rather me wear a wig. And I'm like,
well, it could also just be genuine curiosity. Somebody has alopecia, you may like infer that they wear wigs. A lot of people would. Not to say that the Kingpin would, but a lot of people would.
no, I never wear wigs.
Like, obviously I have no hair. Well, do you know why?
I don't know the term.
Okay.
So I had a couple friends growing up.
Oh my God, Hagbird. What's Gomez like in person? She does have a little bit of an Uncle Fester vibe. Not gonna lie.
But I don't remember what the term was.
Like, who you think had the same thing as me?
Yes.
Okay, it's called alopecia. Have you heard of that?
One of my friends, she was like that. It happened to her in 4th grade.
Okay, yeah.
And it was really tough.
Oh, he knows.
He was like one of the only people that stayed her friend.
So this is the perfect gentleman here. He knows. He's like, no, listen, I got somebody in my life that I knew one time also suffered from the alopecia.
That whole time.
In high school, it was super rough. Even the boys who like, thought I was cute, they would always like be very secretive about it. They'd be like, I think you're pretty, but let's talk in secret. Let's not.
Can we fuck in the bathroom and not go to the dance? Can you just fucking give me a handy in the bathroom? We don't have to go to the dance, do we, Kingpin?
Not tell people we're dating. I never had like a official boyfriend in high school because no one wanted to be associated with a bald girl.
Cheers.
Yes.
Cheers.
It's like a standoff. I love that they left this little weird moment here. Hold on. Just the staring at each other.
Yes.
Because that's artificially created. They created that in editing. But what? So they created like this awkward moment in editing where uncertainty. Will they cheers? Will they won't?
Cheers. Will you excuse me for a second?
Yeah.
Sorry, one second.
Gotta take a dump.
My first impression, obviously he's a good-looking man. He has like beautiful green eyes.
How do you think he handled the whole Alice situation? Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I think he handled it with flying colors. 10 out of 10. He really handled it well. What's up?
Hey.
Can I get the spicy tuna roll, please?
Yeah, I'm gonna get the same.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Perfect.
They're made for each other, guys. We're seeing magic happening right before our fucking eyes.
So, like, what have your experiences been like with dating?
Okay, so I don't think I've had a good dating experience during the pandemic, actually. Yeah. One, the woman was married. She didn't tell me she was married. Husband pops up on the date. On our third date, he pops up. I don't know
That's
what he did.
awful.
The
I'm so
Travis
sorry.
popped up on the date. Very uncomfortable. He wanted to fight me. I know he wanted to fight me, but I was very calm and very respectful.
Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah, because this poor bastard got sandbagged. Like, what would you... If you're out there, if you're doing online dating, doing Tinder or whatever, and the third date in, some dude's husband shows up or some dude's girlfriend or somebody's girlfriend shows up, what the fuck would you do? Really, because you didn't do anything. It's not you that did anything wrong. How the fuck were you supposed to know? Still, very awkward.
Oh my goodness.
So how has dating been like?
Like having alopecia and dating.
Yeah, it sounds like it's probably like super tough.
Dating with alopecia is definitely different because obviously, like, with my disease, like, you see it immediately, right? Like, the first thing you notice is, like, I have
Because she's gonna attract like so many weird guys that have just like a fetish for something like this. Because if you can dream it, there's somebody that's trying to come to it, to come to it. If you can imagine it, if you can think it, there's somebody out there. So she probably deals with a lot of fetishists, I would have to imagine. Maybe she'll extrapolate. Maybe she'll tell us.
hair, right?
Yeah. When I first walked in, like, I knew what it was, but I didn't know what it was called.
Yeah.
So how do you feel having it?
I would say I love being bald now, but it definitely has, like, you know, its own challenges on a day-to-day basis, just because, like, obviously, like, the universal symbol of, like, femininity is, like, hair. And, like, when I literally can't grow any, you know, obviously I get...
I mean, maybe I'm biased. I think it's boobs and a vagina, but maybe that's because I don't know.
Stares.
We live in like such a judgmental society anyway.
Yeah.
So it's already tough. The way I look at things in life is like we're all human. It doesn't matter. Skin color doesn't matter. Whether like
alopecia.
Alopecia.
Yeah,
if you
you're
have
good.
alopecia,
Yeah.
we're still all human at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, for sure.
This guy is so fucking stupid that he can't even remember the word alopecia. Maybe he's nervous. Maybe I'm being cruel. This shirt is turning me off, though. And you know, one time I went on an internet date and I wore a Star Wars shirt. I've never forgiven myself. Did not get laid that night.
So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. That was good.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Thank you so much. It was so fun. Like, he was like the nicest person I've ever like gone on a date with. He was super good looking. That was a happy surprise.
I had no idea what to expect. It went great. Someone who I would definitely go out with again. So yeah, she was very cool, very nice.
Yeah, you guys seem to get along quite well.
Yeah, it was definitely a gel.
So are you going to see it?
I mean, I hope so. He was a really nice guy. He definitely has a lot of food recommendations and things to do. So fingers crossed, we'll see.
All right,
See ya.
stay
Bye.
safe.
Yeah.
So see you later, Kingpin. Dating differently. So I bald and I'm sexy, shake my beauty. I love my vitiligo, but will my blind date? I don't know what that means. I guess we're on this track. Let's go. Why not?
Today, I was going on my first blind date. Let's get it.
Oh, okay. So it's a skin disorder. She's gonna be nice. Come on.
Vitiligo has shaped my life. I am used to getting a lot of attention from it. A couple of times someone's asked me what color my private part is, and I'm happy to say I said you can find out. I definitely need a girl to
I like his attitude though. He's like, you can find out if you want to.
understand the attention that my skin pattern, gets.
My attention span is like this.
Oh yeah, I noticed.
I noticed, excuse me.
Last time I got ready for a date.
See, this is like skin condition, whatever. He's a chat. He takes no bullshit. He's like, yeah, I could tell. I could tell.
It was pre-COVID, BC. Not before Christ, before Corona. My name is Bashir Aziz. I'm 26 years old. I was born with vitiligo and I'm used to getting a lot of attention from it. I think my skin's forced me to be very open about certain things. The most difficult thing about dating with my skin is maybe the education that I've got to prepare to give someone.
Looks like a Dalmatian.
To educate, but sometimes it just gets a tad boring. So today, I would actually be going on my first blind date. What I look for in it, someone that's nice, shapely, someone that's respectable towards herself and others, someone that's funny, that can make me laugh, and has great taste in music.
So they should get this guy on the Fresh and Fit podcast to talk about how to get girls.
What I know about him? Nothing. I know he's a man. I love black love, so I like black men. I love black men. Let's see what happens.
I like black love, so I love black men.
I hope he likes me, all of this. I'm joking. But yeah, let's see. Let's go. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm blessed.
Can I take off my mask?
No, you can't.
Really?
Please, go ahead.
With mask, without?
Without.
Okay, thank you.
What the
Sure, if you were joking.
No, of course. Sorry, what's your name?
I like how he keeps it real. Hagbert says, this always makes me think of daggers from Sequest DSV. Yeah, actually, good call.
Lydiana. Yes, and what's your name?
Bashir.
Oh, where are you from?
Tanzania.
Okay, nice. Not
And
far
you?
from Eritrea.
The fuck?
The worst thing she could do, it would definitely be a hygiene thing or a mannerism thing. Like if she spoke to a waiter, like you off.
Oh, is this spicy? Oh, it must be spicy.
Can you not handle the spice, honey?
I can't.
Like
Thank you.
pity.
Is this spicy?
Yes.
I'll have to ask the chef.
Thank you, sir.
If you're a nice person, I'll happily reciprocate and share that energy with you. That's what I would look for. Someone that's smiling already, boom, like we just get on, like there's no...
I mean, I can respect somebody that knows what they want, but I feel like his standards are a little cartoonish, a little fit and fresh.
Awkwardness.
So, do you have hair on your head?
I don't have any hair.
You don't?
No.
I don't believe you. So, let's do it. On 3. 1, 2, 3!
You want to see my silver hair, like?
Ooh, nice. Hey.
You want to see my... I don't get
beautiful.
it. Everyone's like, let me feel...
Let me see that hair. Yes, nice. Thank you.
I don't like to use dating apps. Normally, I find dates by the old-fashioned way, which is queuing up in McDonald's at 1 a.m. because you're both and the energy's just there, and you're the first even blind date I've ever had. Do you know what I
Me
mean? I
neither.
don't do Tinder either. I like to meet
I'm not
people.
on Tinder either. I'm very self-aware of what it is with me that is not so good. My attention span is like this.
Oh yeah,
So-
I noticed.
I noticed, excuse me.
I'm a boss. Go on.
No. Your attention span is like this as well because you keep interrupting me. But it's okay.
Really?
Let's be positive and nice.
They were married 2 years later.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
Okay, sure.
Excusez-moi. See you in a bite.
Adios, Prophet. Thank you for the diamond, sir. Appreciate it.
But I'm not gonna say anything else. But she's perfect. Yikes. Oh.
How do you think she's taken to the vitiligo side of things?
I think she already has that knowledge about it. Like say how most people look at, oh, I notice a double look. Like that never even happened to the slightest once. It was straight like, bam, I acknowledge it and I love it. Liddy.
Hey, welcome back.
I definitely need a girl to understand the attention that my skin pattern, gets. And I hope she embraces it too, loves it as much as I do as well. Do you think I get a lot of attention from my skin?
I don't think people ask about it, or do they?
More time they're scared to ask.
Have people made like stupid assumptions?
Like what, being contagious?
For example?
I think one time, but that's because I was out of London. There are people that ask me the weirdest questions to like what my private parts are, or what pattern
Oh my god,
is
how
on it.
rude! But yeah, tell me about it.
Oh, she's like, yeah, that's gross, but like, what am I getting into here?
I've been in one serious relationship, and a lot of not even mini relationships, just fun and games.
If I'm in a relationship, I open up completely.
That's good.
I love everything about you if I love you.
Okay, that's good.
So what one was your last relationship that was ever serious, if that?
That one was actually a funny one.
Right.
And thank you very much. Lovely guy. Until the day when his girlfriend called me telling me that he is at the hospital delivering his 4th child.
4th? It was lovely meeting you.
And you.
Can you do me one favor though? You can add the number if you want.
My phone number.
Yikes.
There you go. I would love to see Bash again. Yes, good vibes, good brain. He's got the booty as well.
I've got a peak booty.
Yeah.
Lidiana definitely impressed and surprised me. I am intrigued. Like, she's a very beautiful woman, and I would love to go on a date with her again.
Well. I color coded my letters so I don't lose track. Okay, so from there, we're gonna check out some normies. People that do vlogs. There is a couple that I found out about like pretty recently. Their channel is called Squirmy and Grubs, and we'll check out one of their videos. We got Screamed At in Public. Oh my goodness. Maximum rudeness.
Nice setup we've got there.
This is called Mobile Speaking Engagement Setup 101.
Yep.
So the story with these people is that he was, he's like a paraplegic and he's a writer, and she came across him because he was on like Dr. Phil, I think, like years ago, and they started a email relationship, which grew into a Skype relationship, which grew into a real relationship, and they've been together for a few years now. So I don't think this is a like gold digging situation. Seems to be some genuine affection. They're pretty transparent about their relationship and what goes on. And it's one of the weird things that I have found in the past year or so that I find fascinating. I really do. It's interesting how people find each other sometimes, and what the temperaments are, and what you think somebody would like be attracted to or want to be with. And the cool thing about these people, to their credit, is that they are like fairly transparent about like even the problems they have, like due to being with a paraplegic person.
Nice. We've got really good lighting.
The lighting is amazing. Thank you, hotel windows. Wow, what is all that?
I don't know. The camera turned on at
Like
level.
The luckiest motherfucker on the planet.
And I don't know how I did it, and I don't know how to turn it off, but it's proved to be very useful.
It actually really
Because it
is.
keeps me, straight.
Yeah. We're doing a virtual speaking engagement for Queens College.
Yes.
In Queens, I assume.
I assume.
But we're in a hotel in Ann Arbor, so the hotel Wi-Fi was like not good. We were like, oh no, how are we gonna do a speaking engagement over Zoom? So we are using a hotspot on my phone to my laptop.
We're hoping it works.
With the laptop up on all of our suitcases to get it to the right level.
Oh boy.
We're making it work here.
Yep.
FYI, Shane insisted on drinking coffee until about 30 seconds before the speech. At that time, I wiped these coffee marks off his lips. Don't worry, he did not look like this on Zoom.
I wonder whose idea it must have been hers to like add that note. Like, listen, I am not a bad caretaker. Just get that out of your mind right now.
Thank you to Omaze for sponsoring this video. Stick around for your chance to win an Austin dream home or become an instant millionaire.
Omaze for this video. Omaze exists to empower you a chance to win
$1.8 million. It is located in the Travis Heights neighborhood of Austin, which is walkable to shops and restaurants and parks and
barbecue.
A lake barbecue. Shane wants the barbecue.
I'll be entering.
Shane will be entering for this house. But it's a beautiful house in a beautiful neighborhood and amazing.
This giveaway is that
$1.8 million or $1.3 million in cash. Go to omaze.com/square.
well, there's a ton.
It's like a lot of their
We're
videos.
going to the
They add.
downloads nearby.
That won't work.
Ann Arbor is so cute.
Yeah.
We really like it.
The best part, in walking around last night, we found that there are thousands of restaurants.
Yeah.
Well, I think he means rolling around last night.
Very exciting for us.
I don't know about
You know what I mean?
thousands, Shane, but there were
Hundreds.
tons,
Hundreds.
and they all seemed amazing.
There's at least 100.
Shane found an Albanian-owned diner. So I'm excited about their pancakes. He wants to get like an Albanian meal. And fun fact, I lived in Albania when I was really little. No.
What's that?
Well, I like this place.
It's so good.
So good.
I got an Albanian dish called egg biryani, and it came out, it was like mostly spinach with rice and egg. And I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that. It's so good.
And my cream cheese and strawberry stuffed French toast is so good.
It's really stuffed.
Like, it's... Is it... Oh, that's a good freeze frame. But, like, it's kind of endearing that they're so kind of normie. It's like such a normie existence. It's exactly the same thing you would do, like, if you were anybody and you had, like, a vlogging series or whatever.
I'm obsessed with it. We're all done.
I'm so full.
So full. Now we're gonna go walk around a little bit before we find a coffee shop to sit down and do some work.
Someone just came up to say hi because they follow our channel, and like they were standing behind me on the sidewalk, so they were walking by. But I can't turn my head to look at them, so the whole interaction, I'm just staring directly away from them. And it's not their fault. I don't expect them to.
Well, they couldn't. I mean, there's chairs over here. They couldn't
Yeah,
get in front.
They couldn't really get in front of me to where I could like look them in the eyes. So I'm just hopeful that they didn't think I was like, no, I will not. I will not look at you.
Yeah, that happens every time someone comes up and says something from behind Shane, and every single time, as soon as they walk away, he's like, I hope they know that I just couldn't turn my head and not that I was like ignoring them.
I've tried telling people, like being like, oh, I can't turn my head, like, come over here.
But then they're like, what?
And they're always confused.
Because that's not something you expect to hear, like when you're saying hello to someone on the street, you
So
know?
it ends up being more awkward.
Yeah.
If I tell them what's happening.
Yeah.
We have. There is no way we can explain to you what just happened.
Something just happened, and Shane was like, how are we going to talk about this? And I was like, no one will ever believe us. The most bizarre thing just happened to us.
So someone just approached us, yelling, literally yelling. Oh my god!
Oh, thanks.
Thank you. They were yelling. What were they saying?
Oh, look at this little guy.
Oh,
That's
look
how
at
it
this
started.
big guy.
No, little guy.
Little guy,
That was
little guy.
She was like, look at this little guy. Look how, oh my God.
She's like, no. They said little guy. They said little guy.
Hello. Hello.
And then she put her hands on her cheeks.
Yeah.
Like you would when you're like, oh my God. And she leaned over and looked at me and goes,
she was like,
he's so handsome.
Yeah.
He's so big and handsome. Oh, precious.
But like screaming.
And now, are you imagining this is an old person? I was like, it's like, that happens. No.
No.
Maybe 20.
Yeah, she was a young person. And then Shane was like, thank you. This is my wife. And she was like, that's your girlfriend? And she was like, no, this is my wife. And she was like,
Oh
give
my
him a
God.
kiss. Give
Give
him
him
a
a
big
kiss.
kiss. He's a stud muffin. And I was like, no, thank you. Can you, like, no, thank you. I literally was so uncomfortable. I literally was like, no,
And
thank
I was like, no, I don't.
That's gotta be awful. That has to be tough. I mean, just like you just trying to go out to a fucking restaurant. Look at this guy. Even this guy, he's like, what is going on here? Who are these people? Who are these interlopers? That's gotta be tough, being this dude, and like if somebody came up to you and treated you that way, and then even to be her, and to have somebody be like, "Yo, give him a kiss. Come on, you know you want to. Do it for us, for our entertainment. Dance, monkey, dance."
I don't know what to do.
She was like, you were waving your arms. I did not know what to do. It was so, and she's screaming all this.
I just believe it. It's screaming. And there's people around us. Oh, he's so handsome. Oh my goodness.
Oh my
And then she was like, well, like, have a great day. And we were like, you too. She's going down the road, yelling, that is so special.
Sweetest couple.
Like, pointing at us to other people. Like, they're a couple. They're a couple. Well, I'm worked up.
There's people all around. This is so embarrassing. That was all horrible. And all they saw me do was like,
Unfortunately.
Don't tell people about what we do.
It's a little bit too tight for me. Like, it might be stuck here forever.
Get out.
This might be where I live. This is my new home.
Maybe,
I welcome to my crib.
maybe just back down the ramp.
Yeah, you're gonna have to direct me though.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pretty little and adorable though. So can you blame her?
Oh, editing it. Alright, so that was the seatbelt store. Not very accessible.
Not very. It's
No, not accessible.
Not accessible.
Unless your wheelchair is like 8 inches wide. The employee was very apologetic.
Yeah.
She didn't build the store, so she was like, I'm sorry.
And they had a ramp that was just
I
filled
know.
with stuff.
She was like, can I get you a book? And we were like, no. Or she just started naming
Do you have?
really obscure books.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It was a very neat looking place, but
Yeah.
it just didn't work. So
never fear because Ann Arbor has like 8 other bookstores. So
yeah.
we'll go find one of them, I guess.
And the annoying part was like there was a ramp, to get to this, like it was up like 2 steps and they had a ramp, but they just had boxes lying all over the floor, making the aisles like a foot wide. Like that's a very easy problem. Just like unpack your boxes. Don't have boxes lying on the floor. Like it's not like we're asking them to like change their infrastructure and like build a new building. It's literally just like pick this stuff up off the floor. But what?
Oh my god.
Make you clean your room.
These celebs.
We just ate lunch and Shane is already stopping to look at menus. What does it look like?
You
Oh my god, yeah, tiny little font. Come on.
That's what I was trying to say. I can't read it. I think it's a menu.
And this is what they do. They do this, and they make probably a pretty decent living. Honestly. What could we do? Do one more of these Truly videos. One more of these Trulies. My girlfriend is old enough to be my grandmother. Well, what a beautiful circumstance. to exist in. How beautiful.
This is Karan. He fell in love with Cheryl.
I can't keep her hands off me. She get me aroused. I'm telling you, it happens so often. Lord, yo.
Yeah, because she just like grabs his cock and she services her man. Okay? Can't ask him to deny that pleasure.
Love started through TikTok, but many people were quick to judge their 37-year age gap.
They call her a zombie, the Walking Dead.
How can you date your grandma?
It got to a point, I was like, hey, they all think we're lying.
Yeah.
Can they prove to people that their love is the real deal?
I mean, yeah, of course he can lift her up. She's like a wisp. It's like a ghost. Georgia. Oh my God, this is right next door. Georgia.
Cheryl's pulling up now.
That's real happiness. That's real excitement. She's gonna make me dinner.
Hey, baby.
Hey.
You look good.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
My very first job, her son was my boss. She would always come up there and get food and speak to everyone there.
After 8 years of friendship, they found love through their mutual interest in TikTok.
When we first started making TikToks, we would probably see each other once a week or twice a week. We opened up to each other, we got closer. I asked her out and I caught feelings first. She gave me this dream. I woke up and I was just aroused, and I told her about it. We decided to make it into a relationship because we're both happy. The more affectionate of the two of us, I can't keep her hands off me. She get me aroused, I'm telling you, it happens so often. Lord, yo.
The couple became TikTok famous, with the likes of Snoop Dogg reposting them.
Snoop Dogg posting us was amazing. That was absolutely beautiful, like twice. Cried real tears. That really.
Yeah, she's just like, yeah, dude, fucking Snoop Dogg. I was 47 years old when his first album came out.
Put the icing on the cake because that's when they started realizing in our town that we were a couple. And that's when hate came for real.
Onlookers have judged both Karan and Cheryl for their age gap relationship.
Between me and Cheryl, we have over 1 million followers together and 20 million likes, and we get like 10,000 hate comments a day. It's horrible. We can actually pull some up right now. He's trying to collect that insurance money. When you married the cast from The Walking Dead, don't be rough with her. You will break her bones. The most hateful stuff, it'd be like, they call her a zombie. You're dating a corpse, necrophiliac.
How can you date your grandma?
Do members of the public stare when you go outside?
Yeah, how's it going, Susie?
Yes.
Oh, thank you for the ice cream.
In public, we don't receive no hate like that. Like, behind the screen, you ain't got to worry about it. You can hurt her feelings and watch her cry, and it'd be okay.
And who gets the worst comments of between the two of you?
Me. The negative comments affect me horribly sometimes. They make me cry. I can't handle some of it. A lot of
Like, they have millions of followers on TikTok and stuff. Like, you guys should probably just ignore that. So probably just don't look at the comments, you know? Probably not a good, healthy thing.
this stuff is so hurtful. My self-esteem, everything. It's not a good feeling at all. I'm trying to spread positivity. Like, a lot of kids love us and stuff, and you can't spread positivity when there's negative attacking you back.
He's 23 years old. What are you doing? Susie says, all good, thanks. I think people should be kind. Yeah, it's their life, I guess. Yeah, no, it is their life. It is their life. They should probably... and I think they do. I think they seem like they're realistic about expectation and how other people are going to feel about them, for sure.
Back to back. Sometimes it gets rough doing that, but I still do it.
You can't judge my relationship.
Some members of Cheryl's family have also not been accepting of her relationship with a younger man.
I have a problem with my family, like my kids. I have 7 children and some of them are not with me right now because they're not behind me, but I'm not gonna let that interfere with my relationship.
How many kids does she have? Hold on. I missed part of that.
It's rough doing that, but
His family have also not been accepting of her relationship with a younger man.
I have a problem with my family, like my kids. I have 7 children and some of them are not with me right now because they're not behind me, but I'm not gonna let that interfere with my relationship. They're all grown. All I ask for them to do is stick by me. That's it.
My mom actually likes Cheryl. My siblings like Cheryl. Like, they actually enjoy her because they know she makes me happy. You ready to make some TikToks, baby?
Yep, I'm ready. Let's go.
How do you react to some people who believe relationships?
There you are. Prove them wrong. Everything we do is proving them wrong.
It got to a point, I was like, hey, they all think we're lying.
Yeah, let's do this if we had to.
If you had a message to give anybody who doesn't agree with your relationship, what would it be?
You will never find happiness if you spew hate. So we're happy. You can't stop us. The love is always going to be here. So we're going to continue to go, regardless of your opinion, if it's good or bad.
Yes, amen.
It's not just us, it's other interracial relationships, other couples who have age gaps, and we stand up to show out, hey, anybody can find love no matter what the age, race, or color.
Love is blind.
Okay. But they're also fueled, like, in a meta sense, by TikTok and the attention that they derive from TikTok. Like, it's not just about, like, falling in love for them. It's not just about being in love. There's this other component to it. There's this, like, social pariah component to it. Know what I mean? Alright, well, I think we'll do one more video for the night. And we'll bid everyone adieu. One more video tonight. Gotta get up early. Gotta get up early nowadays. I have a kid in school, which I didn't have just a few months ago. So let's roll. The night is for us. The night is forever.
There you are.
Holy shit.
At 6'3", Amazon Amanda makes a living out of making men feel small. The model has an army of
6'3"? Like, that's not like egregiously tall.
admirers who are happy to pay to spend time with her.
I basically get paid using my natural abilities, my natural God-gifted assets.
I used to live in Alaska. Hold on.
Using my natural abilities, my natural God-gifted...
I used to live in Alaska, and this is like 60% to 70% of the relationships you see there look like this. Typical Alaskan relationship. Tons of giant Amazonian women, and then all the little dudes just trying to get laid. Because the ratio is like for every 5 guys, there's like 1 girl. So these women, they have the pick of the litter. You'll see somebody like a giant Amazonian woman like this, just like this. And she'll be with like the hottest dude in the club. So it was always very fascinating. Nothing I was ever a part of.
gifted assets. I do everything from height size comparisons, lifting, carrying, smothering, wrestling, and just walking in public with people.
Oh, she holding a midget?
You gotta love the honesty. Is she holding a midget, y'all? Why always little? Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a complex thing. I mean, for these guys, this guy, like, it's a fetish. If you're doing this and you're paying a woman to do this, like, that's a fetish. That's not like a it's not a healthy relationship.
While today, professional Amazon model Amanda is worshipped by fans all over the world for her generous proportions. Growing up in small-town America wasn't easy.
I didn't know how to adjust. I was 6 foot when I was 12 years old. I was 215 pounds when I was 12. I was taller and bigger than all my male teachers. I was picked on a lot. I was definitely really bullied.
After growing too tall to be a mainstream model, she discovered the world of Amazon modeling in 2003 and has been inundated with requests from eager fans ever since.
Being a professional Amazon is not, it's definitely not your typical niche, your typical job.
Today she's come to New York for a one-on-one session with one of her biggest fans, Sergio.
Sergio. Oh my goodness, can I jump in your arms?
How long you been? Oh, baby. Well, me being of short stature, I'm only 5'3". I always felt a closeness with tall women. And I'm more endearing with a big woman.
Despite the intimate nature of Amanda's work, she insists there's nothing illegal or immoral with what she does.
There is absolutely no nudity, no sex, no release, nothing of the, many would say, oh, you're a prostitute, or you're an escort. Quite opposite, actually, because I remain fully clothed or just...
Yeah, she's more like a dominatrix. Like, that's really more the vibe of what this is. It's not like necessarily a sexual thing. It's oftentimes just a control or a humiliation thing, right?
Down to bra and panties.
With Sergio on her arm, Amanda's appearance raises more than a few eyebrows.
She's too big for him.
Yeah, like, how does that work?
Like, even in the bedroom, come on now, like, he would have to be on top all the time. Come on, that's not fair.
Come on.
In spite of the stares, Amanda enjoys the attention.
It's funny. I get enough attention when I walk just myself or when I'm walking in heels. But when you add the complete size and height difference, it magnifies it.
And this is her thing. It's a power thing, right? Like, it's a control thing. Because she's like, oh, you walk by yourself. Like, yeah, people look because you're tall and you're a big lady. But when you add, like, a little dude, oh, that's when the stares really come. That's when the daggers really come out of the eyes. She loves it. She loves it. Because she's in the power position.
By 10. So, people are looking and watching, but it's live. Okay, I kind of like it. A lot.
With the requests for sessions coming from all over the planet, Amanda is certain she's found her calling.
I love what I do. It's a great way of not only exploring other interests and fetishes and everything out there, but I get to travel the world. So that's definitely a perk.
For Sergio, the date was everything he'd hoped for.
I get a feeling excitement when I'm around her. I feel inner joy. I'm very comfortable today. It's been a beautiful day.
Hold on. Look at his face. Look at him. He's
I
like a
feel
pig in
inner
shit.
joy.
He's like a pig in shit. This guy loves it.
Comfortable today. It's been a beautiful day. I've had so much fun. We laughed, we joked, and it's who she is.
Whoa.
Trabalho com fantasias que advêm da realidade.
Amazon model earns hundreds of dollars an hour dominating men. Hold on. What were the other videos? I want the world's biggest hips. I've got the longest legs. 6'9" tall woman's confidence hits new heights. All right, well, let's check this person out.
Trabalho com fantasias que advêm da realidade. Que homem gosta de coisas que não faz outras pessoas, que não tem coragem de fazer, e que eu tenho mais coragem de fazer com outras pessoas.
6'8" Amazon Cynthia has the world at her feet, thanks to a global army of admirers. The 200-pound Brazilian model makes a living giving sessions to paying clients.
She's only 200 pounds. 200 pounds being that tall? Wow.
Who like to be wrestled, smothered, dwarfed and dominated. Due to her fearsome size and reputation.
That was the picture. The guy's just like, he's just like, this is the picture that he comes to. It's just this. It's just look at me, look at her, look at the tape measure. We're really cooking with grease now.
She is constantly offered the service of paying and willing slaves.
Em todo o mundo tem escravos. Fazem todos para mim. Comida, lavar, passar, fazer motorista, autista, meu motorista.
As one of the tallest and biggest Amazons on the circuit, the earning potential is seemingly limitless.
Para fazer uma sessão comigo de 1 hora, $300. Que ganhas mais em dia, $10 mil em dia.
However, Cynthia's life hasn't always been so glamorous, and growing up she hated the way her body developed.
Antes, quando era pequena, sim, muito problema, porque na escola, muito problema. Eu não fui muito à escola. Fui à escola até 15 anos. Por quê? Porque não me gostava que todas as pessoas, girar.
See, that's the sad part of a lot of these things. When you watch videos like this, there's always there's always a story underneath it. There's always a reason. Like it's like on its face, right? Like it's funny and it's silly. But there's always something like this. It just makes me feel bad.
Todos os nomes difíceis, porque era muito magra e muito bruta. Todos me não gostava.
But after discovering the world of Amazon modeling, she was able to pull herself out of a difficult life.
O trabalho mudou minha vida muito, porque mudou a vida da minha família, principalmente da minha mãe, que mudou muito da minha mãe, a vida da minha família. Porque eu venho de uma família pobre e isso mudou minha vida.
But such a physically demanding job isn't without its risks.
Susie says her and the other one should make a movie together. They'd be a good Cagney and Lacey. Yeah, actually, yeah, right? They could be out there solving crimes.
Quando eu comecei, que não era profissional, era problema. Primeira pessoa que tive problemas quando eu quebrei 2 costelas de uma pessoa. Porque ele não dizer que estava com problema, eu quebrei 2 costelas. Hoje não acontece mais porque eu sei medir a minha força.
Today, Cynthia has come to see her friend, professional wrestler Michelle, to learn about safety on the mat.
Hi. How are you?
Fine.
Good. Give me a kiss. Mwah. Mwah. Oh my God. I feel so light next to you. I'm going to show Cynthia some chokeholds.
Okay, so I have seen this woman before, because there is like a group of people that, like, as a job, what they do is they dominate men. They will bring them in. Like, I think I've seen her in a mini doc about wrestling. She's a wrestler, and that's what she does. Like, she gets beta males to come, she wrestles them and completely dominates them and defeats them, and they love it.
Some body scissors with legs. Show her how to do a full Nelson. I'm not going to be able to lift her. She's probably going to lift me, but she can also do some lifting with the men. Oh! Let's try it again. Just take it easy. Delicate, yes. And then put me, oh. Okay, easy, delicate. Very good. My Benny, you did really good. Fast learner. Fast learner.
And as she takes a stroll around Central Park, public reaction is a constant reminder of why she's so sought after by her fans.
She's definitely the tallest woman I've ever seen.
Would I wrestle?
Do like people like just spontaneously? Do people just get up and ask for pictures? Seems kind of rude. I don't know. I don't think I could do that.
With her? Yeah. Just to see what would happen. I wouldn't. She'd kick my ass.
A melhor coisa del trabalho
He would love it.
é viagem e dinheiro. Não que o dinheiro é a coisa mais importante
the
da
money's
vida,
good.
mas a satisfação é de poder ajudar minha família.
Well, there you have it. There you have it, everybody. That's gonna do it for tonight. I do have to get up early tomorrow, so we're gonna cut it here. Not super short. We've been going almost 3 hours. Almost 3 hours. I feel like we've done our job. All right, Susie. Thanks so much for coming in here late. I appreciate it. I appreciate the lemons. I really do. And we'll see you guys next week. Next Monday. Goodbye. See you later.
Every day is so wonderful, and suddenly